When does the fantasy start? I challenge you to a duel to the death. I cast Insidious Slumber on her.
Do not trust him. He is a demon.
Dark clouds start to gather, and it looks like it's going to start raining. And you arrive at the town of Clontum, and they are just kind of part way through the Autumn Equinox Festival. So you wake. The night is uneventful. It passes. You sleep well, and you wake with the rest of the kind of the town, having had a nice good night's sleep. You know, you were warm and dry. You were actually in a bed for the first time in about 4 or 5 days, 3 or 4 days. Sorry. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, you had a nice sleep in a good warm bed. First one you'd had for about 3 or 4 days, and you do definitely wake up feeling refreshed.
Yay. No crazy dreams this time.
I feel refreshed. It can't all be crazy dreams.
It can't just.
Sometimes
It'll
you just have a good night's
sleep.
sleep.
Maddening, wouldn't it?
I'm just checking,
Do you know one thing I don't have?
Crazy dreams?
A character sheet.
Ah.
That's kind of
Fuck.
Yeah. I think
Sorry,
that was
guys.
Part of the setup.
Give me a sec. You can carry on.
This is
But
just
what if you have to do something?
riveting.
Yeah, Elias
Riveting
is
radio.
having a laying.
He's sleeping off that bad attitude he's got.
How would you describe this town, Jack?
It's middling in size. It's slightly smaller than Final Rest. Final Rest actually was quite a large town. It was definitely a town rather than a village. Obviously, Final Rest, quite a lot of people that lived there due to the fact that it was kind of a trade hub for the salt miners. Excuse me. So the Clontum is a bit of a smaller town. It's a kind of more of a trade town rather than there's no actual resources that are kind of built here. It's more. It just happens that a town has sprung up here over the time, due to
Just its place on the
just because
road.
of where it is on the road.
Stopping
it's kind
point
of
between
a town has
Final
sprung up
Rest
as
and
they
the
do.
city.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a town
There
of
are-
necessity.
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple of towns like this along the kind of the main road from Final Rest to the city.
The Necessa town.
Yes.
Necessity.
not-
None of them,
'cause it's not a
none
city.
Of them have quite
It's not big
made
enough.
it up to being a necessity yet, but the next biggest town is the next town along. It's kind of like the center point between Final Rest and the city, and that's quite a large town, and that's kind of where the next main stop will be for you guys. So the intention was for you to leave first thing in the morning from Clontum. But when you wake up, you realise that it is raining even heavier than it was when you stopped at that barn. When you kind of go down for breakfast to get your kind of your meager breakfast that's been supplied by the bunkhouse, you see Pierre there, who's obviously slept in one of the rooms they have for the more wealthy people, and he says to you, excuse me.
And that's all he says, and he just stops, and it's great.
Yeah, he's like, oh, sorry, I've had problem for like 3 days. Like,
Oh,
so
sorry,
much better.
guys. I've had a really
This
bad
is actually what I sound like. I'm from the same region as Gary.
Yeah.
I'm not a half elf. I'm a half scorn. I'm not a halfling at all. No, that doesn't happen.
The half scornling.
I cut all of
Aw.
that. Cut. So,
to the less than pleasant weather, I think it may be beneficial for us to stay here just one more night. I have some business to attend to anyway in the town, as it turns out. So, why don't you just keep yourselves busy today and we'll go in the morning, okay? Yes?
Sure. Is there anything to like do in this town that you know of, Pierre?
I mean, the turning of the leaves festival is currently on, as you saw when we arrived in town, due to all of the big flags and such. So, if you do want to toddle off and have a play, as it were, then do feel free.
What do we know about the Turning of the Leaves festival?
So the Turning of the Leaves Festival is essentially the big autumn harvest festival that is kind of held across the nation of Talanos. It's the autumn equinox, and it's quite a big festival. It's one of the main ones that's held. There's maybe 3 or 4 big festivals that kind of everybody in the entire world of Talanos all celebrate, and the autumn equinox is one of them.
It's a sort
It's, as I
of feasting and drinking and dancing kind of festival.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's very much a harvest festival. There's lots of food. There's food stalls. All of the people from the outlying villages all come in. There's a big cattle market. They have all of their goods they're bringing to sell and trade. People are just generally having a good time, and it's one of those festivals that if it rains, people just don't let it get them down. And they will erect big marquees, and there'll be covered areas, all of the kind of the large empty buildings, like all of the all of the warehouses that can have people that have got any space in them. All of the goods will be pushed to the side, so there's dry space for people to go in and eat and drink and dance and things. It's quite an uplifting festival. You will all have memories of the Harvest Festival. So for you, Grandel, and for Elias, this is an absolutely massive thing in the city. They celebrate it for over a week. It's a big. The whole city basically grinds to a halt for the entire time. It's one of the few times that there's very little crime and stuff because everyone just kind of gets on and has a good time. People are too busy having fun and preparing for the winter to come than they are to kind of worry about their lives almost. For Gary, obviously, he remembers the final rest festivities of the Turning of the Leaves Festival as being a kind of, maybe on the day of the actual equinox itself, all of the town will get together and they'll put long tables across the kind of main town walkway, and everyone will bring food, and it'll be almost like a potluck type deal. And there's lots of kind of that sort of thing. And actually, the town had started preparations for the festival just before you left, because they were so determined to try and keep the spirits up even after the disaster that had befallen them.
Oh God, I hope the weather's not like this where they are.
Yeah. Well, for Nyla, this is a very different. What you're about to kind of go and experience is the first non-elven turning of the leaves festival. In the Elven Forest, it's a lot more somber. It's a lot more deferential to the trees themselves. It's almost religious feeling. It's kind of much more like, this is the time where winter is beginning to take hold, and we must help ease the forest into this time of, barrenness and sparsity in terms of sunlight and things. So there's lots of making sure that old trees are protected against the elements and things, and helping the really young saplings doing a similar thing for those. So it's a lot more about nature and kind of helping nature fend itself off almost in the Elven Forest. It's kind of more of a working holiday than it is here. There obviously is also feasting, but as I said, it's a much more somber affair.
I imagine we drink a lot of cider, like warm cider.
It feels a lot more like I don't really know what the kind of the real world equivalent is, but it's a lot more.
It's quite a druidic.
Yeah, it does
sort of
kind of
thing.
feel like that. Yeah, you have a good time, and you're not afraid to have a good time, but it's almost all you all keep yourselves to a limit because you know you've got a day of hard work the next day. Whereas for the humans and dwarves and stuff, it's very much just a case of eat, drink, be merry. No one has to work tomorrow anyway. Type festival.
Oh, it's known for being super fun.
So the bunkhouse that we slept in is part of this inn where Pierre has stayed, and we're now in the sort of breakfast area. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Is there a bar?
There is, yeah.
So upon Pierre, saying, "Oh yeah, just play and have fun," Grandel is straight across to the bar and ordering a pint at 9 in the morning.
You go and join about 3 other people who were also doing that. And the barman kind of turns. I say barman, barwoman, I should probably say. So she turns. She's kind of you could not have pictured a more stereotypical bar wench than this woman. She is, a big, broad-shouldered, busty redhead with like
Buxom.
the kind of classic, buxom, exactly.
As one would find
kind
in an RPG, for example.
Absolutely.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Playing
She
to
is,
stereotypes. here.
for all intents and purposes, the perfect stereotype of a bar wench. Even down to the outfit. She's got the kind of the white, kind of lacy.
Blouse.
What's the word? Blouse on, yeah, with kind of a little apron tied around her waist.
So as she sort of turns to face across the bar as Grandel approaches, Grandel sees her and
Yep.
sort of goes up and goes, "Ah, and what's your name, my fiery wee lass?"
Megan.
Oh, a name as beautiful as the woman herself.
Fantasy.
Thank you.
Mm.
And then she
I'll-
just
I'll-
plonks a beer down in front of you.
Oh, okay, cool. I was going to continue, but that's fine. Grandel understands that there's really nowhere to go with this, so he takes his pint
I mean,
and kind of
there are so
leans
many
against the bar.
people like coming to this bar. She's quite busy, but
Yep.
she's just like, she did appreciate it.
Hmm.
She blushed appropriately.
Awesome. Okay.
Gary is wolfing down breakfast, and you can see he's just getting very, very excited. Kind of turns to Nyla. Oh, Nyla, like you got to come outside with me quick, because there's this festival, and it just happens every year. It's really fun. I don't know if you've ever had it before, but like there's like games, and like I'm really, really good at this one game that's like got like this like stick, right, with a hammer, and you hit it, and like it goes up into the sky, like hits a bell, bing, and like I really want to hit the thing with the hammer, Nyla. Come on.
That sounds wonderful. I'm gonna grab like a handful of bacon and stick it in my pocket for a bear, and then I'm gonna take Gary's arm and link it in my arm.
He like drags
And
you
we're
out.
like-
He full on drags you out. Look,
I'm like, "Wah!"
rolled a. That's a great success strength. You coming with me?
Whether you
Not
want
like
to or
feet
not.
don't even touch the floor. You are fully whisked there, Nyla.
Consider yourself
Wow.
whisked.
So romantic.
Done got whisked.
Thing with a stick. You win me a teddy bear.
Oh, I'm gonna win you so many teddy bears. You can just see the childlike glee in his eyes. You can't wait. Cannot wait.
Amazing. Elias, what are you doing?
Bloodlust.
Definitely not playing games. Do you mind if I keep you company at the bar, Grandel? I don't feel like enjoying the festivities today.
No, have a pint, mate. The the ale here is not too bad at all.
I mean, it's a little early for my tastes, but sure.
It's you know it. As the dwarves always say, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I will. I'll order a drink, but I don't really intend on drinking it. I'll sip it. It's a bit early for my tastes.
Cool. Megan will come along. She can see that you're not really into it, and she'll just give you a half.
Nice.
Grandel has.
If you do sip it, it is like I say, it's actually quite sweet. It's almost like it's been slightly mulled almost.
Nice.
Grandel is already on his 3rd pint.
I can believe that. I can believe that. So you guys will sit at the bar, watching the comings and goings. We'll come back to that in a moment. Pierre will eat his breakfast, nod to the two of you, and hurry out of the bar and down the street. The bar is got the door is like open, even though it's raining. The door is open. Kind of the windows are all like clear, so it's not really very warm in here because obviously the door is open. But there's a big fire going, and the windows are all clear. So there's a big bay windows at the front of this tavern, so you can see out onto the street where all the kind of the people are starting to go into the street to head towards where the market stalls and the games and stuff all are. So you've got quite a good spot where you can kind of just people watch from where you are, and quite a lot of people are coming into the bar, and a lot of people have actually stayed here as well, obviously, seeing as this is where the bunkhouse is. So you've got quite a good position for people watching, so we'll come back to that in a second. But you do notice that Pierre comes out and turns in the opposite direction to what Gary and Nyla did, and heads further into town rather than out to the outskirts of town where all the kind of festivities are happening, where it's almost like the industrial district where there's the all of the warehouses and things. That's kind of where the celebration is happening because there's a bit more open space. But Pierre kind of goes more into town.
Okay.
Cool. So I'm just going to jump over to Nyla and Gary. So you guys kind of leave the bar, and Gary immediately just joins the crowd, I think is probably true, and heads towards the where you can already hear people have started playing music and stuff. Like, it's obviously the not very good bands and the kind of, cheaper bards that are playing this early in the morning, but there is music, and that you can hear kind of hubbub from down the street in the warehouse district.
Now, in my mind's eye, as we cut to Nyla and Gary in the movie that is Nothing Adventured, Nothing Gained, he already has a stick of candy floss.
And a balloon.
And a balloon.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's like 6 foot plus massive half scorn with a balloon and candy floss. I love it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the
Nyla has
fantasy equivalent would be.
I've just
Coffee apple.
I like to think that he's already lost one balloon and Nyla's had to get him another one because it's
cried.
made him really sad.
His eyes are all puffy and red, and he's like wiping a tear away as Nyla hands him another balloon in the shape of like a owl or something.
Yeah, I think toffee apple is probably the closest
Yeah.
to candy floss. But yeah, I like that. I like the idea of
Good
that.
enough for me.
So you kind of get into the town, into the kind of the big bustling kind of center of where the festivities are taking place, and there are several different directions to go in. There's like a really cool like signpost that's like, like the Alice in Wonderland signpost. There's just arrows pointing in all different directions, and that's kind of planted in the center of this like big, almost like circus-esque warehouse district where there's all these like different like stalls that have been put up, tents have been put up. There's like doors open to warehouses. They've got like curtains in front of them and stuff. There's like all sorts of stuff going on. This is like I said, this is the biggest town for like maybe a 2-day ride in each direction. So there's quite a lot of people who live in like the small villages and stuff that have come here. So this is quite a popular location. And this.
Sorry, Nyla has
No,
her
that's
hood
fine.
up, because obviously elves are still a bit weird, and she's very aware of this. So she's sort of got her head up. Yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah, it makes sense. Did you leave Bear behind?
God, yes.
Yeah. That's what
I go in and fed him some bacon.
I had assumed as much. He's protecting the horses.
He's a fucking tiger.
Yeah.
That would work really well.
You do notice that people are kind of looking at Gary as if to be like, damn, he's big. But I don't think Gary is oblivious, like completely oblivious.
Oh yeah.
But there's this big this big sign that's got like different things written all over it, pointing in different directions. Obviously, Gary can't read.
It's very true.
He's
but
100% into his
different
coffee apple.
colours and different shapes of arrow and stuff, all pointing in various directions.
It's like taking a toddler to Disneyland.
It is kind of like
Yeah,
Super full of
6 foot
sugar.
plus
He's
toddler.
really excited, and he can't read any of the signs. You can just lie to him about what's there.
Gary is looking for games.
games.
Oh.
You can look around. Give me perception.
I will. Watch me.
Like, that's one thing I can't do. I'll listen.
17. It's not a total failure, but it's not great.
It's not great.
I need a 14 or lower.
So you kind of look around and you can't see any games. There are no games.
Kind of like look at Nyla and like, I thought they said there'd be games.
Nyla's kind of in sensory overload a little bit because there's so many people that she is not used to. So she like huddles up to Gary a bit. And can she make a perception check just to look for games and somewhere to hide?
I mean, Nyla can read the signs.
True. But she's in a bit of panic mode. So
Yeah,
she's
cool.
like,
You give me a perception
just
check.
looking. That is a great success. A 5.
Cool. So as Gary's like, oh, I want to play games, you hear a ding, which obviously immediately makes you think of the game that Gary was telling you about, and it's kind of coming from out to the left of you. So you kind of push him in that direction and head that way, I assume.
Yeah. I grab his hand and I just start like beelining straight towards the sound.
Cool. So yeah, you can kind of weave your way through the crowd. They kind of get out of Gary's way anyway, to be honest. He's a big, scary half-scorn. I assume you're still carrying your axes.
Sure. Why
just-
not?
Yeah, he wouldn't have had the forethought to take them off. Let's be fair.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why I assumed that. Nyla, do you think you probably have your weapons on you still?
I'd have my bow on my back and my club in my belt.
That's fine. That's not an unusual sight like the other mercenaries. Not your mercenaries, but the mercenaries you've seen in town do still have weapons on them because obviously that's their job. So you can get through the crowd quite easily, and you make your way. And as you turn a corner around a bright red and blue stripy tent, you see this kind of selection of essentially carnival games. It's in a kind of a moon, like a half moon, like a semicircle. As you face it, there's maybe 7 or 8 games. 7 games, and the central game that the other 3 kind of come off of in like a nice clean arc is a very tall pole with a bell on it, and there is quite a long line of people queuing up to it.
Nyla, that's the game. Look, that's the game with the bell and the hammer.
It's just as you described it to me, Gary.
Can I play it? Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so there are people kind of, as I said, there's quite a lot of people, there's maybe 10 people lined up for this game already. It's obviously quite a popular one. And the stalls either side have got maybe 1 or 2 people. There are various games either side of it. There's like a coconut shy, which it's not actually coconuts. It's these
fantasy
big kind
nuts.
of yeah. Well, they look more like pineapples without the green bit on the top. And you recognize Nyla as as a kind of fruit that you get in the Elven Forest, and that is actually an elf who not an elf, a woman that's clearly dressed up as an elf, who is actually like she's got like really bad like fake pointy ears on, are like way too big. Like she's clearly cosplaying an elf. As you know, she's got this like beautiful green dress on and these big pointy ears, and she's these big fruit that you recognise are from the Elven Forest. That's obviously one of the things she trades. She obviously trades with them for this fruit, and there's not much interest around that stall because I think that it's the prize that you get is one of these fruit. But so people aren't really that interested. But I think the woman is getting quite a lot of like remarks. Let's put it this way: catcalls and stuff from the kind of big burly men and women that are in the queue to do the. What's the word?
I don't actually know what it's called. It's the Hammer Bell Festival.
Yeah,
The
it's like
strength
strength
test.
test. Yeah.
Smashy Bell.
Yeah, so
Test your might.
smashy belding.
Oh yeah. Well, we're not going to use the technical terms. We'll confuse people.
In
That's
this
true, that's
world,
true.
that's what it is.
Smashy
so, yeah.
building.
I point at the elven lady, and kind of nudge Nyla, and be like, "That's cultural appropriation."
Who are you and what have you done with Gary?
Yeah, that is too big a word, Gary.
You just see a little
That's
trickle
too
of blood
big.
come out of his nose.
No, that's what Gary thinks he says, but he says
Yeah.
something completely different.
He just
That's
is just like
coastal population.
Culture population.
Yeah.
that's coleslaw manipulation. Right.
Sorry.
So no, that was I loved it. It was great. So you've got the not coconut shy. You've got the strength test in the centre, and you've got the coconut shy. That's not a coconut shy. There's a darts game. There's one of those hoop over the jar games.
Ring toss.
Yeah, ring. Thank you. Ring
Don't
toss.
call him names.
Hoop over a jar.
Smashy building.
It's no wonder these games are so popular. They got such catchy names.
I mean, they do. They do. There's a game that looks like that doesn't like anyone's actually ever approached it at all. There's no, you know how there's like the little patch of dirt that's kind of stamped down in front of the stall where people have been standing there to try it. There's one that's just got there's nothing like that. It looks like there's nobody has ever walked up to this game, and it's essentially like it's an old man sat behind a stall front, and on the wood of the stall front is a box, and he has a little sign next to it that Nyla you can read, and it just says puzzle.
He's not
Not popular.
catchy names.
And then I think that's all of them. Okay, yeah, let's just say that's all of them. I probably haven't listed 7, and someone is going to tell me that on Twitter, and I'm going to be sad.
And others.
Yeah, and
Cannot
other
wait
games
for that.
you might find at a coconut shy. Wait, no.
Is there the stick with a hook with which you put a rubber duck on?
Yes, there is. there is a fishing game. Yeah.
There you go.
So as you've been kind of looking around, you've gone down the queue a little bit. No one's actually managed to ding the bell since whoever it was that dinged the bell before.
Yeah, Gary.
I'm
just
sure.
like,
I'm sure
they
Gary can change that.
yeah, when Gary sees them and like doesn't hit the bell, I'm like, weak.
The guy in front of you is just he like turns around and he like nods at you like yeah they are. He appreciates your for want of a better word scorn of.
Oh shit!
You done did it. You
Uh,
done did it.
do you know what? I'm surprised that
sure
it's
the
taken
first
this
of
long.
Many times. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a really huge, like he's almost as tall as you, Gary. He's a human. He's bold. He's got like big bulging muscles, and he's covered in tattoos. And he's like, "Yeah, I've got this."
Have you like?
And
Go on.
no, go on. I wasn't going to say anything interesting.
Do yourself dirty like
Well,
that.
at least you're honest.
Our dungeon master, ladies and gentlemen.
Have you played this? Have you played this game before? Is that hammer like heavy enough? Like what's the form? You know what I mean? What am I aiming for? What's like the record?
You wanna hit it hard.
Excellent. I'll get.
That's how I've done it. I've made it ding before.
You've done the ding.
And I just have to hit it hard.
Right. Okay. You done did the ding.
I did.
He's done the. I turned to Nilo and be like, he done the ding.
I did.
I just like put a thumbs up because I have no idea what's going on.
Oh, Gary friend.
I know. So happy.
Nilo, are you gonna play any games?
Yeah, I'm interested. Why is that woman dressed like an elf?
Because it's funny, isn't it? It's like she's in point here, isn't she? Do you know what I mean?
Is that
No.
like blackface?
It is like
Gary?
blackface. That's what I was trying to aim at.
She's in point ear.
It
That's
was just
amazing.
that pause just for about 2 or 3 seconds where no one was quite sure.
That's what I was aiming at.
It's funny
Is
because
that-
it's the exact
is
same
that
reaction as
blackface?
if someone said, "Yeah, this guy was in blackface." It's that same kind of awkward silence.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
it's funny. It's like, hey, look at the elf. Yeah, hey.
I think I would like to go play her game.
Well, this
I think we
cue-
have to call this episode "Smashy Smashy Belding and the Woman in Point Ear."
Oh, God.
Gary's golden time.
This line's taking forever. Why don't you just go play that game? I'll hold the place in line, yeah.
Okay. I wander over to the non-elf.
She smiles at you. And you she get hello. And
Hi.
she kind of smiles really awkwardly and
Did
does
she
like
pull
a
her
grand
collar?
gesture.
Like, oh.
Awkward.
Come.
Is she doing a racist voice or something?
She's like, hello. Come and beat the challenge of the elves.
Oh god.
Oh, sure. I smile back awkwardly.
It is a simple thing. Take these balls and throw them at my fruit. If you hit the fruit and knock it to the ground, you keep the fruit.
Sure, I'll have a go.
Give me a range attack.
Ranged attack. That is 19.
Oof. The fruit
Oh,
has to
so you
roll
like-
on the injuries table.
It's true.
So you kind of like you pick up the ball and you kind of give it a feel for the weight, and you kind of just draw your arm back and you kind of flick it, and the fruit doesn't hit the floor; it just explodes, and like covers this woman in fruit juice and pulp, and
I
she's
think
like,
your
"That one was maybe too ripe, eh?"
I think your fruit are broken.
Most people don't throw it quite so hard.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I will get another one for your prize. And she kind of leans down, and as she leans down, one of her ears falls off.
Classic
but she
elf.
doesn't notice. And she kind of picks up one of these fruit, which it's called scourge fruit.
Oh, that doesn't sound nice.
No, it
it's-
doesn't.
It's a lot less appetizing right now.
Very,
Yeah.
very,
Yum, yum.
very fantasy though, Jack. Well done. You don't go
Don't go-
too
don't go-
fantasy.
Don't go too high fantasy.
It's all right. It's all right. I've got
Yeah.
this.
Throw in some like apples and shit, you know.
What? if you will allow me.
I'm sorry.
This woman comes up to you and she kind of hands you this fruit and she goes, this fruit is very well loved in elfin homeland, where we call it elf fruit. And she does like a little flourish.
Why would you call it elf fruit if you're an elf? Surely you just call it fruit.
We do, but you, not elves, would refer to it as such.
Just keep
Oh.
digging. Just keep digging.
You know, I've got 2 more balls. Can I throw them?
Yes, maybe not so hard this time, eh?
Nyla smiled. Oh, that one's only a 6, so that's not great.
No, one of them just she's like, not that softly.
Sorry, it's difficult, for us non-elves.
Yes, the keen eye of an elf is needed to do this game, yeah?
That's a 21.
Oh,
There it is.
what?
3 of the fruit
18
explode.
plus 3.
So yeah, I think that you hit it explodes even more than the last one did. Like it just it pops and just goes everywhere, and she happened to be stood almost directly behind it, and it hit the ball hits her on the shoulder as well, and she's just like, gee, you did it again. And she hands you another one of these fruit. And she's just like, hey, and does a really limp gesture, and then grabs a towel and starts toweling herself down. From behind you, you just hear, and it's the really big, bold, burly guy who's just pissing himself, laughing, clapping. He's just he finds it hilarious.
And Gary, you can see him in the queue. He is laughing heartily as well.
He's made a friend.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to play your game, fine elven maid. I hope one day we will play again. And I wink at her.
Yes. Oh, yes. Well, if you wish to play another game of elfin make, you should go and see my cousin at the Prancing Duck.
Jack, you're fucking killing it today.
I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that you didn't have that one pre-prepared.
How dare you?
I'm going to go again, if I may.
No, it's good. Roll with it. I love it.
I like the Prancing
like
Duck.
it.
Prancing Duck's an awesome name.
It's great.
Okay. And she's like, go and find her at the Prancing Duck in the city. Did I get more transformation?
You
I
very
think you
much
did.
Yeah.
It's very.
That wasn't even the accent I was going for.
It was great. It was very organic.
Run with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Thanks. I did, yeah. That's now what elves sound like, just say FYI.
Hi?
Sorry. What people do when they're doing
Yeah, that's
point
what
ear.
racial stereotype sounds like.
Elf voice. I put the scared fruit in my bag and I wandered back to Gary.
Oh, by the way,
Yes.
sturge fruit, for elves, it's like Duran fruit. It's not something that people go, yeah, let's have that for breakfast. It's nasty.
Yeah, durian. Oh, yeah.
Whilst this has happened, you are now second in the line, Gary.
Excellent, excellent. So the bald guy's in front of me still, is he?
Bald guy's in front of you. Yeah, he walks up. He kind of flexes and stretches and stuff. Does his strongman pose. He picks up this hammer. It looks like a pretty decent hammer. It's got he doesn't flex too much when he picks it up, but it's clearly got a bit of a heft to it. And he kind of does a really big over the top showy swing and smashes it down. And it shoots up the pole and just about hits it, and it goes ding. and then
Nice.
comes back down again. And he's just like flexing and like doing like, all the poses, like he's doing like the strongman pose, like the Atlas pose, and like the thinker and stuff. Like he's going for it. He's going for it. And everyone's like clapping. They're
nice.
very impressed with him.
Excellent work.
Yeah, and he's just like, yes, have it.
Yeah, get on. Nice. Yeah, excellent. Excellent.
And
excellent. Yeah,
go on.
I was just gonna... I wasn't going to say anything interesting.
So he is given a little sack.
Ooh.
That's his prize.
An
Ooh.
empty
He looks in
sack,
it and
or
no, it's got something in it.
Okay.
He looks in it and he's like, yes, and that runs off. He's like, good luck, and he runs off.
What was in the sack? I turn around to the guy behind me.
He shrugs. He's like, I don't know.
Ooh. Oh, I want it.
And the guy who's running the game is just like, step up then and have a go.
All right, yeah, I will do. I will.
It's a silver.
I'll pick up the hammer and like feel the weight of it.
You got to pay a silver.
Whoa. All right. And I give him. I hold up my hand with some money in it, just to him.
He like
I just look at him.
picks a silver out of it.
Oh,
like,
thanks.
Good
Oh.
one. And he like puts it in his little pot. He's got by him, and he's like, have at it.
So I pick up the hammer and I kind of like feel the weight of
It's
it.
got a good weight to it. It's not as heavy as you'd like. You think?
It's a shame. It's a shame. And no, I won't go into a rage.
Yeah,
it's not that bad of a hammer.
I have more sense than that.
How much
me
do
a
you want to know what's in
strength
those bags,
I
Mark?
really
Like-
want to know what's in that bag. I really want to know what's in that bag. No, I'm just going to be a good boy. I'm not going to go into a rage. So
But you are full of sugar.
I am. I'm all hyped up. Full of childlike glee to be so angry. No, I'm going to step up, kind of eye it up, look up at the bell, take a big, long swing, and... Ooh. We won't be surprised to know that a 6 is a great success.
Yeah, so you flex, you swing the hammer, you bring it down, and it like shoots up into the sky, and ding. But it's a louder ding. It's definitely a louder ding. You happy with that?
Excellent.
I start clapping.
I get all flushed up. You see me like blushing. Like,
Yeah, the guys behind you are just like, yeah, nice one, mate, nice one.
Yeah. I turn to the guy. I'm like, what's in the sack? What's in the sack? Give me the sack.
Tidy, yeah, nice one. You did it. You made it ding. Well done.
I did a ding.
And he
So excited about it.
he leans. This is his job, love. He reaches down and he hands you a sack, and as he hands it to you, he kind of keeps his hand on it, and he's like, "And don't be opening it round here. It's a surprise, yeah.
Oh, I like surprises.
Ruin it for all the others.
Yeah, I like surprises. Yeah.
Good.
Thank
Keep
you.
it to yourself."
Thank you. And I like
He lets
kind of
go.
skip off to Nyla. I like Nyla. I made it ding. I did a ding. Did you see it? Did you see the part?
Yeah.
Did you see the bit where it like went bing?
It was the best ding I've heard since you stood
it
here.
was great. I had such a good time. I got to see a sack as well. Look. What do you reckon's inside? I reckon it's lamb.
A whole lamb?
No, just like a bit of a lamb.
I think maybe it's something a bit more special than lamb, Gary.
Lamb's pretty expensive. I don't know if you've like seen the price of lamb recently, but like it's pretty pricey. He told me not to open it round the people. So should we go around the corner and open it? Come on.
Do you not want to play more games?
I want to see what's in the sack.
Knew that was coming.
Sure. Let's go find somewhere quiet,
Yeah.
and we'll open it.
All right. Yeah. Come on. And we go. Yes, drag
I
her-
follow him as he sprints, I imagine, away from me.
And goes to a quiet open. What's in the sack, Jack? Jack,
What's in the sack?
what's in the sack? Tell me all about
What's
it.
in the
In
sack?
the sack.
Oh, I've got this like weird fruit, Nyla. Look.
This is clearly the only prize at this festival, regardless of the game that you play.
I'll take a big bite of it. I don't know if
No,
you're supposed
Gary,
to peel
don't.
I mean, for one,
Peel
the
and
skin's
all.
quite thick.
Oh, I
but you
don't care.
probably like.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know how to eat it.
Give me con.
Say, now he's gonna rage.
Wish I
Yeah.
did rage now. Ooh, that's a 19.
Oh no.
Yeah, you like immediately just spit it out and like throw up a little bit in your mouth.
It wasn't
It's
lamb.
nasty.
After all,
No,
that.
it's not lamb.
I kind of like hold it out to her and
Mark, I don't want to be your mom. Just saying. This is
I
not
just-
unfaithful.
Just for the sake of the imagery, I'd like to point out that throughout all of this, he must have done the hammer one-handed because he's clearly been holding a balloon the entire time.
I tied it round his wrist.
I
so he
don't.
didn't
Yeah,
lose
that's it. I can't be trusted.
Yep.
Fantastic.
I take the whatever scourge fruit off him.
Yuck fruit, more like. Am I right?
You are indeed right, Gary.
Cool. Well, let's go and see what happened in the bar whilst whilst this has all been going on. So, sat in the bar, sipping on your drinks. I imagine. Obviously, we cut back to where we were a second ago when we left you.
Point
So
4.
you're already 3 in, and
You're working on the
you know,
4th now.
Elias is sat there. Yeah, Elias is sat there just supping. And what do you want to get up to? Anything you looking out for anything in particular? Are you chatting about anything? Have at it. Do a fantasy.
I do that. I'm doing what Grandel is always doing, which is looking around for anyone who looks like they're maybe a bit wealthier. Maybe they've got a bit of cash on them. Detection for that?
Yep.
Right. That, ooh. So that's a natural 20, so I am temporarily blinded by the ale, I guess.
Yeah. You like bump your head spinning round, and you're like, oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, everyone just kind of looks pretty normal. They're all just like tradesmen, like you are. Not like you are, like Pierre is. Sorry.
Yeah.
None of them really stick out.
They're
They're all mercenaries
tradesmen
and-
like I am.
Yeah, exactly. That no one really sticks out. They're all kind of not simple looking, like ordinary looking people. No one really catches your eye that looks particularly wealthy or anything.
Cool.
The only thing that does kind of draw your gaze are the pretty ladies. That walk
of
past,
course.
I expect you get distracted by a particularly pretty lady who walks past and excuse me,
Swing!
and you're just like, oh, lady, and then like you just like, oh, what was I doing?
Yeah, that's as I'm going to take a sip, I just sort of the head follows the woman and the glass tips, and
The
I just
beer
sort of
goes
pour
down,
beer
yeah,
on myself. Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Um,
This is every 30 seconds or so as women
Yeah,
walk past
yeah.
Grandel.
What's Elias doing?
Elias is writing in his notebook at the bar. Just kind of keeping to himself, really.
Particular? Just keep him to himself. Cool. Lovely.
He's actually, I mean, he's kind of making a list of stuff to find out for when they get to the city. He's kind of compiling a to-do list, as it were. So he's kind of, go back over the kind of the day's events from the last kind of week or so, and when we met Astiograthis. Just things like that, really. So he's kind of, shorthanding it all down to make it kind of...
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. sounds like the sort of thing he would do. He's got some time. It's dry. Probably the only time he's really had where he trusts to get his notebooks and stuff out. To be honest. Cool. Yeah. So you kind of sit there and you're quite content. And you're busily writing, and you're kind of your drinks are kept topped up. By Megan, who's behind the bar for most of the morning. You've maybe spent an hour or so kind of sat at the bar, I probably expect.
Mhm.
And then Grandel, something catches your eye.
Okay.
Because I think you're the only one that's actually paying any attention to what's going on around you.
Yeah.
A small child. You watch him pickpocket about 4 people outside the bar.
Nice.
And he as he finishes the last one, he kind of turns and just accidentally makes eye contact with you.
Mm.
And yeah, he just kind of pauses a little slightly for a second, as if to be like, "Shit, you saw me."
I just sort of raise my glass to him, in sort of salute, and give him a little nod, a cheeky grin.
He relief just washes over his face, and he kind of ducks back down another alley opposite the bar and disappears out of sight.
Okay. Elias seems sort of fairly deep into his journal or whatever it is he's writing at the moment, right? He's not really paying attention.
No, not at all.
No. Cool. Okay. Grandel, upon seeing this child sort of rush across, he downs the rest of his current pint, slams it down on the bar, and just sort of sneaks out, and sort of tries to follow, see where this kid's going.
Yeah. So you can kind of doing it sneakily.
Semi sneakily. I'm not trying to be stealth, but also just sort of trepidatious, because I don't know where he's going. I don't know what this kid's about, but you know.
Yeah. Cool. So give me detection.
God, that's another natural 20. I've never had so many in my life. So that's a great failure.
Cool. Yeah, so you come around this corner, and
Actually, sorry, it's a normal failure. It's not a great failure.
Okay, so you come around the corner. There's no sign of him. The alleyway kind of carries on down and turns around behind the next building. But there's no sign of him in the alleyway that you're in at the moment.
And there's no sort of doors that I can see leading off the.
Nope, no.
Into the
There's
buildings
just
on the side.
it's just kind of a couple of boxes. But there's nothing. There's no obvious exits from the alleyway.
Okay. I look upwards just in case he sort of climbed a wall or something.
Okay, yeah. You don't see any kind of footholds or anything, and there's not any feet disappearing over the ceiling or anything.
And no sort of holes in walls or any little areas that a small child could duck into, but maybe a full-size adult couldn't.
Not that you can see.
Okay. So Grandel, sort of vaguely distracted from his beers for a moment, he kind of thinks, "Oh well, never mind." And in this, this utter deluge, he sort of finds a little crook to hide underneath and lights his pipe, and just takes a moment to sort of stay there smoking and relaxing. He's probably slightly tipsy at this point as well. After about an hour, he's probably had about 10 pints.
Yeah. You can duck into one of the what's the word? The little
Eaves?
porches almost. Yeah, kind of under the eaves in a porch of a doorway of one of the houses that lines this street. And you light your pipe and look out at as you say, the deluge. The road's getting really muddy, and kind of everyone's just dashing through, trying to get to the fairgrounds where obviously all the celebrations are happening. You kind of look out onto this flurry of people running past, and give me perception.
That is a great success with a 4.
Cool. So, not Tobias. What is your name? Elias.
Elias.
Can you give me a perception as well?
I can. I rolled a natural 20.
Nice.
So that is
Cool.
just a failure.
So so you're underneath this house. All these people are walking past in front of you. You kind of look across back into the bar again through the open door, and you can see like Elias is there, like making notes. And as he's there making notes, you see that kid slip his hand into Elias's robes, and start kind of rummaging around. And he pulls out a handful of something.
That child does not know how lucky he is that I rolled a
The blood
20.
god must be a P.
I know, right?
Because I would fuck him up.
And Elias, what have you got on you?
What did you have on you?
I have backpack, coin pouch, bedroll, rations, water skin, lantern, 3 oil flasks, tinderbox, scroll of secret lore, a vial of acid, a fire pot, and a small mirror. Oh, and 3 lodestones.
Yeah, I knew I'd given you something last week, but I couldn't remember what it was. This kid just puts his hand in your pocket and grabs something out of your pocket and kind of... Again, he does the same thing he did with you a second ago, Grandal. As he turns round, he sees you looking at him and it's just like, ah, shit.
Yeah, this time I sort of I lower my gaze, so I'm looking like under my brow, and I just sort of slowly shake my head from side to side. Like, no, not this one, laddie.
The kid like looks at his hand and like opens it and is like, I don't know what these are. I don't know whether they're valuable or not. Like you can see this on his face.
Yeah, the
And then
conflict.
he's just like, and he turns and bolts.
Does he run back through the... There's only the one
Goes
door into
out-
the inn, yeah?
No, so he goes out towards the bunks, like the bunk
Right,
room.
okay.
So you know that the inn attaches to the bunkhouse, and the bunkhouse attaches to the stables, and obviously you can get out through the stables.
Yeah. Okay, in that case, I'm going to try and sort of head him off at the pass, as it were, and run straight to the stables from the outside.
Yep, cool.
As I go past the door, I just yell, Elias!
What?
Follow!
What now? Okay.
How
I do.
fast am I?
Those stubby little legs.
Yeah, probably not massively
Don't really.
fast.
Those stubby little
I mean,
legs
dwarves
on
are
4
normally
pints.
slower, aren't
And
they?
against a
But,
child, though, to be fair.
That's
He
true.
has drunk a lot.
This is also true.
That's also true.
I mean, I've drunk a lot, but I haven't drunk a lot for a dwarf, so...
Again, similarly true.
I love the fact we're all pleading our case.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually say that you're slower as a dwarf, so yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, so Elias, obviously he shouted at you. Are you going to head towards the way that Grandal's going?
Yes.
Yeah. That
Didn't
makes
you say
sense because
follow?
You don't know the logic.
Yeah, so I would follow.
So you kind of grab your notebook and put it in your pocket or whatever, and you tuck it in your robes. Grandal shoots off round the back of the inn to the stables, and you burst through the stable door. It's one of those things where Grandal, you kind of burst into the stables, and then just stop. And then Elias joins you like a moment later and is like, what's going on? And then like looks down and you see this kid just stood completely still in front of Bear. Like the lodestones on the floor next to him. There's a pouch of money on the floor next to him. And he's just like completely frozen. And Bear is just like just stood like looking at him like, what are you doing? Why did you disturb my sleep? Like it's kind of the expression that he has. And as soon as he sees you, he's just like, just like growls a little bit in greeting. And this kid just like, and he kind of turns and sees you, and he's like, help.
What's going on, Grandal?
Well, the wee laddie here decided it would be good fun to steal something out of your robes there. I don't know what he got, but he got something.
I quickly pat myself down.
Yeah, the lodestones are missing.
Just the lodestones.
Yeah.
You're all right, laddie. Just just move slowly towards me, away from the nice tiger. All right?
He's just like, and kind of steps very slowly backwards until he's like within arm's reach of you.
Okay. As he sort of reaches me, I sort of grab him by the wrist, but not hard, not harshly, just to sort of so he doesn't bolt off again.
Yeah.
And I reach into my pocket and I pull out a bit of jerky and I just chuck it and I go, "Good boy, bear," and I throw it towards him.
He's just like, ow. And like just walks in a circle and just sits on the floor again.
That's excellent role playing of a tiger there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Grandal. Nom nom nom.
Nom nom nom.
Were the lodestones on the floor?
Yeah, he dropped them.
All right, I'll go and retrieve them.
Is that all of whatever those are, Elias?
It was 3.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Was there a pouch on the floor as well?
There was, yeah.
Okay. Is there a lot of money in the pouch?
It's a bit.
Is it a weighty pouch?
Fairly. It looks like he's been compiling his stuff into that pouch, so he's obviously like getting rid of the actual coin purses he finds and just putting it in this little pouch. So there's maybe 10 gold in there.
Okay, I'm going to take 6 out. I'm going to
Okay.
give the pouch back to the lad with 4 in.
Now tell me, wee
He's
laddie,
just like,
where did you learn to steal like that?
he just like blushes and kind of grins a little bit, and he's just like, my brother.
Ah, he's a good teacher. What's your name, lad?
Robin?
Robin. Well, I'm Grandal, and this is Elias, and that over there is Bear, and he's not nearly as scary as he looks. All right?
Don't necessarily believe that. For sure.
Is that what he says?
Yeah.
Ah, no, he's a
Up
good
the
friend of
side.
mine, and I just sort of, I walk the boy back towards Bear and just reach out and give Bear a little scritch behind the ear.
He'll like, yeah, he'll kind of rub his face, his like head against your shin, and just like lick your hand a little bit.
Yeah, he's a good boy. You see, he's a little teddy bear. Ah, you see what I did there with the? I didn't even think about it.
The boy will be like, "Can I pet him?"
Bear, would it be all right if the wee lad give you a little pet?
Bear just looks at you, and then just like headbutts this kid in the stomach. And this kid is like, and just like puts his hand on Bear's head, and it's like,
Yeah,
"Thanks,
it's a
Bear.
boy.
Thanks, Bear." And then Bear's just like, "I'm done," and lies down again,
Yeah.
curls up, and is just.
I think that's your lot, wee lad. Best be on your way. Keep at it. You're doing good work, but just stay away from my friends, all right? Anybody you see hanging around with me, except for if you come across a halfling with the whiniest voice you've ever heard, rob him blind.
Okay.
All right, off with you. I'll let go of his wrist.
He bolts like he just as he runs so fast, and Bear like to the point where Bear like does the thing where he's like is kind of his predator instinct, like he tenses.
Running
and then he's
prey.
like, nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Tobias.
I give the other Tobias. That's a different campaign, Jack.
Yes, you're
It's my own character.
a man who can turn into a hawk. But
I
it's
give-
stuck that way.
I give Grandal the 6 gold I took out of the pouch.
Oh, thank you.
And I thank you, Grandal. These lodestones didn't really mean much to me, but I appreciate the watching of my back.
No worries. We're on the same team now, so
Exactly, and hopefully you can put this towards some more of that ale you enjoy so much.
that sounds like an excellent idea. I think I'll go and do that now.
Yeah,
And
I'm gonna head back to the bar.
wanders back to the bar.
Cool. You going back to the bar as well, Grandal? Sorry. Grandal. Elias. Probably.
Yes. Yeah, I'll head back to the bar.
Cool.
So I think on the way, how far is the stables from the from the inn.
So the stables, the inn, and the bunkhouse are all connected. So it's only like maybe a 2-minute walk round it. It's just that you can go through without going outside if you want to.
Yeah, which, given the weather, it probably would.
Yeah. On the way back, I'll have a quick chat with Grandel. So Grandel, I'm curious as to what caused you to join this cause in the first place.
Well, various reasons. I mean, at heart, I'm a very simple dwarf. I like money, and I don't know. After seeing what you could do, the magic, and what your tall friend Gary can do with his muscles, and Nyla, she's intriguing, and you know, I like Bear. It just seemed like a good opportunity to, you know, adventure and wealth and all that sort of thing, I suppose.
That's as good as
nothing
reason
more
as any.
complicated than that.
Well, it's good to have you along, Grandel.
Oh,
You do seem to be able to take care of yourself.
Ah, well, I've been on my own for quite a while, so yeah, I've had to. What about you? You don't seem much of the traveling type, if you don't mind me saying so.
I left the city not through my own choice, but for I was doing my master's bidding. I was to find the young boy, Jacob, and just to kind of really assess his powers, if any, and to report back.
Yeah, I mean, how do you think your master's going to take the news that he was able to heal, but then made a town explode?
I think he will be incredibly shocked, and if it was to come from anyone else's mouth but my own, he wouldn't believe it.
Sounds about right. And I mean,
But
the last
does
week or
seem
so, I
very-
think if I tried to describe any of it to anyone outside the group, they'd think I was potty.
It's becoming quite the tall tale we're spinning.
Aye, lad. Too true.
Let's go to the bar and enjoy a drink.
Aye, drink.
So it's probably around midday by now. People are there's more people in the bar now than there were earlier, and you can get a drink. The spaces that you were sat at by the bar are actually occupied now. Even in the time you were gone, people have sat at the bar. But you can find a seat at one of the tables in a corner somewhere if you want to sit down in the bar.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Like a booth.
Yeah, exactly. Essentially, the other so the barmaid has gone. She's obviously her shift has ended and she's headed to the festival as everybody else has. You now got maybe 2 or 3 people who are obviously they've come in to pick up the slack of the afternoon where it's generally going to be busier. They're all human. There's 2 men and a woman. 2 men and a woman. 2 men and a woman. Yeah, so one of the men and the woman, they're clearly siblings. They've got really uncanny similarity, and the other man is kind of tall and broad. He looks quite muscly, but they're just general kind of, you know, they're barman, servers. The siblings, they are the ones that kind of do the table service. They're kind of wandering around, bringing drinks to people at tables and stuff. So
Okay,
you can flag one of them down pretty easily.
I was going to actually wander up to the bar and see if I can get the female bartender's attention.
She's gone. Megan's gone.
No,
So-
you said there was two blokes and a woman.
Oh yeah, she's one of the ones that's serving.
Oh,
people.
all right, cool. Yeah, I wave her down to the table then.
Yep, she'll approach, and yeah, what can I get you?
Another round of the same, Elias. Eh?
I'll have whatever you're having, Grandel.
Two
The
pints
same,
of
what
your
the same of
finest.
what? Oh,
And I just, well, I've got you, wee lassie. You seem like the kind of person who might be in the know. Is there anything interesting going on around town aside from the festival? Any unexplained events, that kind of thing?
oh, unexplained events. Such as?
Oh, you know, things appearing that weren't supposed to be there, things disappearing that, you know, without cause. unusual phenomenon? Anything like that?
I think the only interesting thing that's happened in town, other than the festival, as you say, is that an order monk has been seen in town wandering about. We don't get them through here very often.
That is most unusual.
Hey.
Is he by any chance staying at the inn?
No, he's not. He said that he didn't have need of a room.
And when was this? Was this today?
Yesterday. He arrived quite late, and then kind of came and asked if there had been any unusual occurrences, much similar as you have done. And then I said to him no, there hadn't, and did he need a room? And he said no, he had no need of a room. He would find his own shelter, and then he left out into the night.
Could you describe the man for me?
He was slim, dark hair, big beard.
Would you say it was a great
wearing...
big bushy beard?
Crusty
big
jugglers.
Big as in long, I would say. Long beard, quite well kept. He spoke in a very strange accent. I'd not heard it before. And he wore sky blue robes.
Yeah. Thank you, lassie. And I just sort of take her hand in mine and I place a couple of copper pieces into her palm and sort of, for your time, thank you.
She curtsies and goes and she brings you a drink just after that.
Does it describe anyone I'm familiar with, Jack?
Not really. It describes an order monk. That's certainly true. The sky blue robes are kind of a telltale sign of the order monk, and it's not uncommon for them to have like long, well-kept beards. To be honest.
Well, much like Onik with his red beard, who I remember from my dream.
Yeah, but that's he was a mage, and he did have a great big.
Oh, I thought he was. I've written down man from the
Onik
order.
Onik was another mage.
Right. Okay. I've written that down wrong then.
That's So just to go back on that, the reason that's one of your weird memory things from the dream. You remember the reason why you weren't in the room with him is because you weren't allowed to be there because you can't have three or more mages in a room together. So you weren't even supposed to be in the tower at the time.
Yeah.
But your master had kind of just seconded you away instead.
Okay.
Anyway, yes. Sky blue robes, long, kind of dark beard, very well kept. It just kind of describes a regular order monk to you. The accent thing is weird because you've ever met an order monk with an unusual accent, but then obviously you also don't necessarily know what she would consider to be an unusual accent.
Yeah.
Well, the sky blue robes should stand out in a crowd at least.
I'd be very interested in meeting this monk, Grandel. It's very, very bizarre to find the order monks.
Definitely keep an eye out for him.
Cool. And on that note, we will cut back over to the fairground. So after you've had your upsetting experience with the, as Gary so aptly named, yuck fruit, where will Gary and Nyla be going next? There's lots of things to do and see at the fair.
I will ask Gary. I have never been to one of these festivals before. Gary, what would you recommend next?
We can have some food and like sometimes there's rides. I've not in Final Rest, but I've heard like that there's rides that you can go on, and I also heard that sometimes there's like people who like read your fortune, and other times I had this one guy that told me that one time at this festival there was a woman that he got to have sex with in exchange for currency. So that's something we could do.
signpost and see what that says.
So, Jack, if you ever have Pierre laugh wholeheartedly, it's that laugh that you just did.
Yeah, I know. As I did it, I was like, why is Pierre there? So yeah, you can kind of head back to the sign.
Yeah, I just want to read them out to Gary and see what he wants to do. Does one of them say prostitute?
Sex for
No.
money, this way.
No, none of them say prostitutes.
Shame.
Originally, I was going to make a joke about the signs being like lions and tigers and bears, and there's
Oh
one over there that says,
my.
"Oh my," but that does sound like prostitutes, so I'm not going to do that joke anymore.
Lions and tigers and bears.
Oh my.
Exactly. So there's a sign. So there's lots of signs. The ones that kind of draw your eye are the kind of probably the gaudier ones, to be honest. I mean, you're looking for Gary here, so there's one that's just like it's just literally the arrow to where the food is. So there's an arrow that says food, one that says games. One arrow kind of points down, like away from the way you arrived, and it's like the only part of the festival that's not like brightly coloured and stuff.
That's the
and it's
nasty
like down, but it's down the opposite. It's not so the games and the food are kind of off to each side, and then the other kind of direction you can go in. There's a lot less people going down that way because I think people are kind of focusing on games and food. But that one, it says the sign that says mysteries of the turning leaves.
I do like
Mysteries of
mysteries.
what? Sorry.
Sorry.
What was it? Mysteries of what? I heard everyone just went
Uh-oh.
ooh, and I couldn't hear.
It says mysteries of the turning leaves.
I kind of look at
How do you
Nyla.
feel about a mystery, Gary?
I do like a mystery.
Okay. So I start dragging Gary that way.
Let's go. All right.
So yeah, you walk down this. There's a lot less people down this way. You kind of squeeze in between, not squeeze, but it's down an alleyway in between two of the larger warehouses, and you kind of get to essentially a little courtyard. In the kind of behind where all these big warehouses are, it's like an internal courtyard between four of them, and there's a sign on the wall next to the entrance to where you come in that just says, again, mysteries of the turning leaves, kind of pointing you in the right direction to make sure you're going the right way. And in the centre of this empty courtyard is a tent, like a kind of circus tent, like a miniature circus tent. And it's quite dark. It's like a dark blue, like navy, and there's a curtain that you could obviously open, but the curtain is closed. And there's no sign or anything. It's just literally just a really dark blue tent with the closed kind of curtain flaps.
Are there any people around?
Nope.
Let's go.
So you're gonna approach
yeah.
the tent.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to approach this. I love a mystery tent.
Cool. So yeah, you approach this tent, and so you kind of approach the tent. I imagine you have to just you being cautious because it's a mystery tent. Like you're being respectful of its mystery.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
you approach, and as your hand touches the tent flap, you hear from within. Enter only one. No, that's Pierre.
No.
Yeah, I'm about to say,
You got me worried for a second
yeah.
there. This is his side job as a drag artist, fortune teller.
I've got business to attend to, says
Yeah.
Pierre. And we go in and he's wearing a gypsy
Yeah.
robe. And
The business mystery.
Oh,
What's the voice, Jack?
yes.
I'm finding it.
You're digging
I've got to
deep.
channel it. I've got to channel it.
bring us into the fantasy.
So you put your hand on the tent flap after having approached this navy blue tent, and I imagine it's probably, is it Nyla or Gary who kind of makes the first move to go inside?
I'd say probably Nyla. Gary's a
Yeah.
little bit wary.
I figured the same. So at Nyla, as you put your hand on the tent, you hear this voice just kind of almost, I think it's quite quiet. So it almost trickles out from inside the tent. Like you can barely hear it. And you just hear, "If you come in, you must come alone."
I look at Gary.
I look at Nyla. You you all right? Go, yeah. You all right going in?
If you hear me scream,
Oh.
please come get me.
All right. I kind of step
I-
back away and let Nyla go in.
Yeah, I carefully and cautiously open the tent flap.
So yeah, you kind of they're quite heavy. They're like big, heavy canvas. So you kind of almost have to slip in between them, and you get inside and it's quite dark. Your eyes take a second to adjust, and it's lit only by candles, and the woman, for it is a woman, that stands opposite you is. She's not like an old lady. She is maybe like middle age, maybe like 40, 50-ish. She looks like she's doesn't look old. She stood opposite you. She wears kind of leather, almost like leather armor. Relatively similar to what you're wearing. And but there's a lot of skin showing. Like, so she's got like very bare legs. Her arms are bare. This leather armor is very figure hugging. It's almost like a leather corset almost. But it looks like it's quite thick leather. Like it would actually protect you against like a sword swing if it was to come to that. And she's covered in these kind of very faint, like tracings of like almost. Well, they're not almost. They are. Like, they're writing all over her arms and her legs, like all where you can see there's exposed skin all the way up to her arms, all the way up to her neck. Like, there's nothing on her face, and she's got this long, like set of black dreadlocks that just pour down her back. They just kind of how they kind of like pile up on the top of the head and like go look big, and they kind of come down over her shoulders a little bit. And she's not still. She doesn't stand still at all. She's like constantly moving, like ever so slightly. And as soon as you enter the tent and kind of your eyes have adjusted, she like makes eye contact with you, and just holds it. And her head kind of tilts from side to side, and she looks at you, and she extends a hand, like really slowly, like every digit opening one at a time, and then beckons gently to you, to kind of bring you into this kind of circle of candles that she stood in.
I walk forward.
Welcome, child, to the mysteries. What do you wish answered here?
What kind of thing am I allowed to ask?
You have but one question, and it must be about you or your future. She places a finger, which you notice that she's got these long, kind of very thick nails. She places a finger on your forehead, and it's just like, think on this. Your chance will not come again soon. And as she says that, she kind of lifts the finger away very suddenly, and as her eyes have not left yours. And you haven't been able to look away?
Okay. Where is Sun?
Ah, yes. The prodigal son. The son that was not. An eclipse, you might say, of sorts. fitting. He is. You would do well to hurry. And with that, she closes her eyes, breaking the eye contact with you, and turns her back to you, and you can tell that's it.
Back out of the tent and look at Gary, who I assume is still standing outside.
What was the mystery?
She, I think you'd probably best go in.
Really? Is it that good?
I don't know. I don't really understand what happened.
Oh, no, I have to go in, don't I? Even you're being mysterious. All right, fine. I'll just pile in. I don't even wait for an invite.
The same thing happens to you. The as soon as you go in, your eyes immediately are like, ugh, and you that stops you in your tracks almost. And as your eyes adjust to the candlelight, you see this same sight. This woman stood opposite you. She has her back to you when you first come in, and as your eyes adjust, she kind of wheels round and locks her eyes with yours. And you just immediately, you almost take an involuntary gasp.
Yeah.
Because
I imagine she's quite
looking
scary.
at you so intently. Yeah, she's quite intimidating.
But I guess she asked the question what I want to know.
No. So, she locks eyes with you, and she takes a step forward, and she places her hand in the center of your chest. You have less questions than the others.
I would say that's pretty safe to assume.
She kind of takes her hand away. Is there something you would know?
Who is my father?
A question such as that is not worthy of a question at all. Your father is nothing and died as nothing.
Oh,
He does not define you.
so he's dead.
Yes,
Oh, well,
he did not survive to your birth.
interesting.
Something you did not know about your mother.
Interesting. Well, she was pretty double-hard. Must be where I get it from, eh?
Undoubtedly.
Undoubtedly. Indubitably. All right, then. Well, thanks, I suppose. And I walk out and go see Nyla.
As you go to walk out, her hand flicks up and she grabs you by the arm. And do you look back? Do you pause?
Yeah?
When you look back, her eyes are completely blank. There's no pupils, so her pupils have almost dilated so much that her eyes look completely black. And she says, "When golden light shines, 13 strain against their bonds. Cracks will form." And then she lets go of your hand and kind of slumps back a bit. And just waves you away.
kind of like walk out, go see Nyla. I don't think, like, I don't know. She didn't seem that good. She was
Sorry.
quite mysterious, I suppose. Like, I've seen more mysterious though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess I do.
She said something about golden lights, and like that was pretty good. But like, yeah, don't know. I prefer the games myself. Come on,
Yeah,
let's
I think I do too.
come on. Let's go get Grandel. He'll enjoy a game, I'm sure.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
Sort
Cool.
of
So yeah,
shake myself a little bit, bring
yeah.
myself back.
You can head away. You go back towards the festival grounds, and you back in the hubbub. You both feel a little bit like, that's almost like already forgotten kind of the weirdness that just happened. And you head back towards the tavern where you left Grandel and Elias. I think that's probably around the time when you kind of all, Grandel and Elias have been sat there kind of watching people, and you arrive, go back again, they're in their booth. And you can meet up with them, I think, quite easily at that point. That brings this to a nice point where the group's all back together again, and you can kind of probably join them in their booth if you wanted to. Hi guys, welcome back again. As always, thank you for listening. Hope you are enjoying the festival as much as Gary and Nyla are so far. Just wanted to take a quick minute to let you know about a slight break from the usual for the next week's episode. Rather than hearing about the next leg of the gang's journey, instead I will be sharing with you the first of the backstory sessions that I have been doing with the guys. Next week we will be doing Grandel's, so it will be a chance to discover a little bit more about why the dwarf is the way he is. That episode is going to be going up on the 7th of Feb, so hope to see you then. In the meantime, thank you again for listening. Remember to like us, follow, subscribe, come find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and whenever you talk about us, make sure you're using #Nang and #Nangcast. But anyway, a quick one from me this week. So enjoy the rest of the episode, and I will see you all soon. Bye.
Welcome back, you two. You been having fun?
Yeah, I ding the bell.
Well done, Gary.
Ding the bell.
I covered a fake elf in disgusting juice.
Well done, Nyla. Is that one of the games?
Well, it was for me.
Uh,
I don't think that's the point of it.
All right. Interesting.
Have you heard of people pretending to be elves before?
Not well. But
I feel a bit weird about it. Like it hurts.
Last year, I once knew a man who conned people on the street with his card tricks and, find the lady, that kind of thing. And he was a fully grown human who used to sit down on his knees with a big cape out the back and pretend to be a dwarf. It happens,
Hmm.
I wouldn't
What do
worry
you
about
guys
it
do?
too much.
It's fine. I mean, I covered her in disgusting juice. I feel better about that.
That was really fun.
And Gary did indeed ding the bell.
I
harder than
did.
anyone else.
Grendel, I did ding the bell. I dinged it real good. I won a fruit.
Oh, That deserves a celebratory drink, I think.
Absolutely.
And I sort of wave over to the lady that served us before and sort of drag her over for another round.
Yep, she'll nod and she'll kind of just head straight to the bar and grab another round of what you've been drinking. With an extra 2.
So, anything worth checking out? I'm not one for dinging bells or covering fake elves with weird juice. At least not so far.
We
Sorry, that was very much Bex laughing and not Nyla.
we met a
Things I didn't think I'd say today.
we met a mystery lady, and like she was like, "Ask me any question." And I asked her a question. She didn't know. She didn't really have a really particularly like satisfying answer for me. To be honest, I'd give her a solid 4 out of 10 on mystery.
I mean, I do like a... I am a fan of a mysterious lady.
Nice.
She seemed to. Well, I don't know if what she told me was real or just some trick, but if you have any burning questions that you want answered, maybe worth seeing her.
Yeah.
Oh,
Alright,
it's all hokum, all that stuff. Oh, I could see into the future. Yeah, well, like I can chop a tree down. What of it?
I honestly hope you're right, Gary.
Yeah, blatantly. What about you, Elias? You down with a bit of mystery, are you? You seem pretty mysterious, fella.
Sorry, Gary?
You down with a bit of mystery, Elias? You seem the sort, don't you?
Would never say no to a bit of mystery.
Oh, it's a bit of mystery.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What were you saying?
We like met a mystery lady. Answers any question, apparently. I think it's all hokum. She didn't have a decent answer for me.
It's probably just a cheap parlor trick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Elias just had his head in his book. He didn't really register you guys coming in. He's frantically scribbling.
Well, Elias, do you fancy checking out some of the games and maybe the mystery lady?
Games aren't really my sort of thing, but we could maybe see the fortune teller. It might be worth a laugh.
Nyla said there was a puzzle game. I'm not very good at puzzles, so I gave that a miss.
I quite like a puzzle.
There are a few games that might be of interest, and you could win some disgusting fruit. So,
Well,
Yeah, so
who could turn that down?
You're really selling it, Nyla.
it's more about pride, isn't it?
Aye, well, let's head over, Elias. Let's stretch our legs a bit. We've been sat here for hours now.
I mean, I must admit I'm incredibly competitive.
I just lean sort of away from Elias towards Nyla and Gary, and I just sort of go, bloodlust.
Yeah, maybe this would be good for you, Elias. You know, work out some of that energy you seem to be bottling or keeping to yourself.
That was excellent use of the word energy in place of anything else.
And that's it's kind of what I've been doing for the last hour or so. And I'll show you my notebook. I've been drawing.
It's just dicks on dicks on dicks.
What actually is it?
It's just
Dicks
a
on
very
dicks.
dicks on dicks on dicks.
Really beautifully, elegantly drawn dick.
Yeah, like Da Vinci level sketch artistry, but
I've been-
penises.
Indian dick.
I've been drawing with charcoal. I've done a giant charcoal dick. No, I've just been just sketching, kind of with just bits of charcoal. Not to any particular high standard, but
Are they good? Are they good drawings? Like, do they show promise?
I mean, I'd say they were pretty good. I mean, I'm creative. I'm artistic.
Yeah, it's a good understanding of form.
I mean, they're just kind of abstract sketches of dicks.
Yeah, that's
bullshit.
just a thing that Grandel heard someone say about art once, and he's just, sort of deploying it rote.
Regurgitating it.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think you kind of all probably feel like Gary's really keen to kind of go and show some other people some games. 'Cause it means he gets to go back to the games
Absolutely.
again. So he you can kind of all get up and you all head towards the festival. It's getting much more busy now because obviously it's getting into the evening where the music gets a bit better, and the music is much better now. There's a really good sounding bard band playing over in the food section. And so you can get to the sign. So where are you going to head first? You've obviously got games, you've got food, you've got mysteries of the turning leaf.
Like, assuming that Gary sort of dragged us straight towards the games,
Yeah, he did.
I'm quite interested to go towards the puzzle game.
Yeah.
The old man.
So you kind of approach this puzzle game, and this old man, he almost looks like, I think you think he might be asleep. He's just kind of sat, his eyes are closed, he's just very still.
I walk right up to the edge of the stall and I just go,
And he just goes, yes. Hello.
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 So, what's the puzzle?
It's this box.
Aye.
If you can open it, you can have what's inside.
Oh, my kind of puzzle. I'm immediately gonna. Is that tricks and traps or? Traps
So
and
as soon
locks?
as you kind of go to put your hand on it, he goes, but first you have to pay.
Always a catch. How much?
A silver.
A silver. That's fine. Yeah, I fork one over.
Lovely. He kind of takes it, it runs across his knuckles, and he pushes it into his robe.
Traps and locks.
100%, yes.
Awesome. That is a 3, which is a great success.
Yeah, so you turn it over in your hand, and you do the whole knocking on it thing. You rattle it slightly against your ear, and then you turn it in one particular direction, and you feel just something under your finger, and you go, oh, and you click it, and the lid just pops open.
What is revealed?
And the man just goes, oh, that's never happened before. And within is a really nice brooch.
Ew. What does it look like?
It's a cameo.
Word up.
It's just a. Damn it, Mark! You stole my joke. I was gonna say it's just a really nicely engraved red posing pouch. No, so it's a cameo of a young man in this classic silhouette. It's a young man with a little ponytail of unknown origin.
Okay.
It's got it's the light blue with the white silhouette.
Yep. Awesome.
And it's kind of set in like what looks like it's silver in color metal. Whether it's silver or not, you'd have to check.
Yeah.
And it's got kind of the fastening on the back.
Are you guys all with me?
Yeah.
I sort of I pick it out and turn it to face you guys and say, oh, what do you make of that?
It's a picture of a man. It's pretty. If you're
That was my mistake. I didn't mean to ask Gary.
if you're into that sort of thing, I suppose.
Elias, Nyla, what do you make of this?
I'll have a look at it.
Yep, I hand it over.
I'll give it a little bit of a study.
You get a tingle in the base of your skull, Elias.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping.
I'll get a crick in the back of my neck.
Do I feel any warmth from my back?
I'll hand it back to Grandel, and I'll just say it's a nice piece. It's fairly mundane, probably worth maybe 5, 6 gold.
Do I think that that's correct with my knowledge of what things are worth?
I am giving him
You
kind of
think
like a wide-eyed look while I say it.
So yeah, Grandel, you think probably you could flog it for a bit more, but you're just looking at him like. Right.
Okay, he's giving me the
So
wide
it's up to
eyes.
you.
I sort of.
Yeah, it's whether or not you pick up on that, I suppose.
Yeah. Would that be?
I think you probably. What's your perception score?
15.
You could probably pick up on that. You spent
Yeah.
the entire day with this man. I think you probably. He's giving you a look. It's relatively obvious.
Okay. I turn
He's
back
not the
to
most
the.
charismatic of people, so I don't think he's
No.
very subtle, to be honest.
No.
So he's
Yeah.
like, it's worth like what? 4 gold? Wink.
Yeah.
And I say wink.
Yeah.
Wink,
Yeah,
wink.
exactly. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I turned back to the guy running the stall and said, "So, what can you tell me about this? I mean, do you know who this is?"
I'm not going to lie to you. I found the box and couldn't open it. Thought
I love it.
Entrepreneurial.
Well, now that I've opened it, it's not worth anything to you now. How much for the box?
Have it.
Ah, nice.
You've. My scam is ruined.
Oh, brilliant.
He sounds
And he-
really upset about it as well. He's
Yeah.
like, oh
He-
no,
he-
you
he
spoiled
hops
my
down.
plan.
He hops down off his chair and like starts pulling at his face, and
It says
and,
2
and he
weeks.
and he's got like quite a good disguise of an old man. It's actually like a 20-year-old.
Awesome.
He's like, I thought the old man bit would make me more likely to get customers. I was wrong.
I like this guy.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
He
yeah.
picks up like a pouch that looks like it's got maybe 10 silver in it, and he's like, "See you later." Just like hops over the stall and just kind of wanders off. He's just like, "I'm done." Like,
I sort of watch him go as I like holding the cameo in one hand and the box in the other, just sort of, it was a good day, and I pop them both into my
it was a good day.
yeah, I pop them both into my satchel.
Yeah, after the not so old man disappears, I will say there's something quite unusual about that piece, actually, Grandel. I would maybe get someone to study it a little closer at some point.
Ah. All right. Well, next time we get a chance, if you're willing,
I can maybe in the privacy of my room cast a little spell or two.
Hey, yeah, definitely worthwhile. It's an interesting piece. I mean, I've not come across a cameo that had a man on it before. Normally,
Bit
only
more
women.
unusual.
Hey, well,
Didn't recognize the man or anything, Jack. I know I don't know everyone in
It's
the
just
world.
the
but
silhouette. It's quite hard to make out, to be honest. It's definitely a man because you can definitely like the facial structure and the hairstyle as well is definitely a man. Yeah, it's just kind of mundane looking, but obviously has some sort of magical tingle to it.
right. Well, I've had my fun. Where to next?
You turn around as you say that, and Gary's gone. And it's just you see him in the distance, just fishing for the little duckies.
I wanted to do
Well,
that too.
Gary's already doing
Duckies.
it. You should have been there. Where were you?
I was looking at the mystery box.
It's already placed.
Always take the mystery box. You know that.
but it could be a boat.
I'm gonna wander over to Gary and the duckies.
Yeah, I
They're
think
fish.
we'll sort of
They're
follow
fish,
over
not
there.
ducks, it's fish.
Is it fish?
Oh, I
don't want
don't
to play
do
it.
it then.
Yeah, I'm not
I
interested.
don't
Fish.
Ducks or
Gross.
nothing.
They're like bobbing fish.
I can't
You have
imagine
to,
I'm
like,
quite
fish
as
for?
good at this.
It'll be a dex thing, Gary.
Ooh,
It's only a copper to play this one.
it's a good thing because I rolled an 18, and that is not going to cut it. But you know
Yeah, no,
what?
you
I'm having
just-
fun. That's the main thing.
You flail hopelessly.
Can I play?
Yes, you can. It's a copper.
Okay, I do that. Dexterity, yeah?
Yep.
I also failed. That's not a terrible failure, but it's not far off.
Oh, this game's rigged.
It's so hard.
I'll give it a go as well.
Yep.
I wouldn't bother. It's rigged.
It's
Ah.
rigged.
It,
Those
it,
fish are
do you know
rigged.
what? It fucking is. I rolled a 17.
The girl behind the stall, the one who's running it, is just like very loudly to people that are near you are like, the game is not rigged.
Game's rigged.
They're
That's
just
exactly
bad at
what
it."
someone who rigged the game would say.
Absolutely.
I want another go, Jack.
Okay,
I roll. I got an 8, which is a great success.
cool. Yeah, you like flick the hook in, and you grab one of these fish. It's a big one. It's like painted to look like a salmon. And the girl goes, "See?"
Yeah,
Not-
likely. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's funny how that happened.
Yeah.
Just as we've said that it's rigged.
Oh, it's not rigged, and all of a sudden we pick out
Mm.
likely story. Yeah.
Yeah, I
alright.
don't trust
Don't
that.
trust
Um,
that.
I pick up the fish and I thrust it in the girl's face. I'm like,
She's like,
fries, please.
well done, my dear. I don't know why she's suddenly got a different accent. Well done, my dear. She takes it
That
off you,
accent's rigged.
and she kind of chucks it back in the water, and she goes, "What you've won is this." And she hands you a bag. No.
for
she,
fruit.
Delicious fruit.
she hands you 3 little like square metal like tokens. She hands them to you, and she says, "My brother runs one of the food stalls. You've just won yourself a leg of chicken."
Oh. Nice.
Thanks.
It's not a bad price for a copper, to be fair.
It's not too bad.
Well, it cost us 4 copper, really.
Well, that's it, because it's
Ah,
rigged.
it's a rip-off.
Yeah,
Big game.
exactly. But the victory tastes so sweet.
It tastes like chicken.
It tastes like chicken.
Can everyone give me perception, please?
Absolutely.
I can. I'm gonna change my dice because that one's rolled like really bad.
I
Yeah,
rolled-
I did that earlier.
I rolled a natural 1.
I rolled a
Oh.
2.
I am
I rolled
the thing that
10,
you're looking
but-
at.
I've got a 7, which is a great success.
Cool. So I think that sounds like great success for everyone apart from Nyla, by the sounds of things.
I got a success. Yeah.
Oh, cool. But everyone succeeds. So all of you, you're stood around this fishing game, and kind of, Nyla, you're like a split second like slower on the uptake, but the rain almost seems to slow, like it doesn't. It you know when it just goes quiet, even though it's raining, it just feels like it's gone quiet for some reason. You experience almost that weird sensation of rain just going quiet for just a second. And in that moment, you hear the most sickening, like blood-curdling scream. And like, there's a fair few people heard it. It was really loud. And but you 3, the ones that got great successes, you know exactly where that came from. You immediately all turn in that direction, and Gary, it's exactly coming from the direction of the mystery tent.
Ooh. That's a mystery lady. I'd run. I'm
Yeah,
running.
I'm heading that way.
Aye.
Cool. Yeah, you all run through the streets. No one else seems that bothered. Like, there's been people going, "Oh, what's that noise?" But no one seems to be running in that direction. Like, it's just not something that they seem to care about for some reason. Or they just didn't notice. But you kind of run down this alley, and you kind of all come out into this this kind of square. And the tent's there. The curtain looks like it's been slashed. And the woman is there, like led in her circle of, because you can see into the tent now because of where the tent's been slashed open, and she's led there in her circle of candles, and she has this huge slash across her chest.
Ooh.
Across her chest. It's such a heavy wound that like the corset she's wearing has got like a big like gash into the top of it, where it's obviously like it's taken some of the impact, but it's like actually cut the top of it completely in half, at least partially. It's like it goes really deep into her chest and then continues on her thigh as if it's like one smooth motion that's just sliced across her, and she's just led in this circle of candles, just bleeding
Jesus.
and panting.
Am I able to use my apothecary to do anything?
You can assess. You can assess at the very least. You can assess.
It's a 10, which is a success.
She's gonna die.
Sweet, but she's not dead.
She's not dead yet.
It's only mostly
Okay.
dead.
Just mostly dead. Who did this to you? Did you see?
Her eyes have like rolled back in her head, and she can't really. She's having trouble kind of keeping consciousness. And she's just. Questions. I must answer.
All right. Who attacked you?
The Crow Man.
Crowman.
You all know the Crow Man is like one of those children's stories. He's essentially Talanos's version of Krampus. He's like a Christmas story, but so the Feast of Crows is a festival. We actually spoke about this last week, I think. The Feast of Crows is a festival where kids make presents for their parents to apologize for being bad, so the Crow Man doesn't come and take them away and turn them into crows. But he's said to carry a huge scythe. But yeah, so she says, the Crow Man.
The Crow Man. Oh no.
Her eyes she gains a bit of consciousness, and she looks and sees the four of you kind of all gathered around. Because I assume you all gathered. Obviously, you're on your knees, Elias. She sees you first, and then she kind of looks up and sees like Nyla and Gary, who she's obviously already spoken to today. And then she sees Grandel, and as her hands like grasp the air, like she's trying to like reach out and touch you.
To me?
Just the kind of all of you almost. Like she's obviously you're there like holding her chest, trying to stop her from bleeding out, I expect.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just kind of reaching out towards the other three.
I take her hand.
Yeah, I'll come in.
Yeah.
So the moment all of you are kind of all touching, her eyes just go black again, exactly the same as they did to you before, Gary. And in the blackness of her eyes, as you kind of all your gaze is all drawn immediately to these black, empty pits in her eyes, and you hear her speak, and you feel this just like you almost feel like you're falling as you hear this. And she says, when golden light shines, 13 strain against their bonds, cracks will form. Our final rest must end. In the fire of life, keys will be forged. There will be 7 as before. And as she says that, she collapses, and you think she's gone, Elias.
Well, I wish we'd come here before we tried to catch some crappy fish, quite frankly.
It was a rigged game anyway.
As you sorry, go on, Grendel.
Could you just repeat that first line for us again? Just
I can.
write
Yeah.
it
So
down.
I'll say it in a normal voice.
Thank you.
When golden light shines, 13 strain against their bonds. Cracks will form. Our final rest must end. In the fire of life, keys will be forged. There will be 7, as before.
And sorry, just to confirm that our final rest must end. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Interesting. Can I use my treasure detecting power to see if there's anything of value in this tent?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. As you do that, so give me a percentile.
Yep. There we go. That is 15. 15.
Yeah. There's this tent has got candles in it and nothing else, and a dead body. Like that's it. Like there's you can't even you don't even think there's anything particularly valuable in any of these warehouses you're around. To be honest.
Does the wound look like a scythe made it?
Give me another apothecary. Seeing as you're specifically trying to think about that.
Oh, that is a success. Just that's 16.
It's definitely a slashing blade. Like it's a big slashing blade. But scythes aren't really weapons. Like they're farm tools. Maybe it's not something you would have really seen before. As you're kind of looking at this woman, who's just kind of is died in your arms, from the entrance to the square that you all came in, you hear, "Oh, it seems that I was not here fast enough, unfortunately." And as you turn around, you see a man in bright blue robes and with a nicely kept, long, dark beard.
So he's inside the tent with us.
No, he's like in the square.
Okay.
But can we see him?
Yes, you can see he's in the kind of in the entrance to the alleyway.
Right.
He's just come into the square. You probably, Elias, have the hardest trouble seeing him because obviously the other 3 are kind of stood around you. So unless like Nyla and Gary immediately dispersed for some reason. But I think as they turn to see who it was that spoke, you probably see like through their legs or something. Because obviously you're on the floor, so.
Are you the Crow Man?
What?
The Crow Man.
No, I'm not the Crow Man. That is a myth. He strides up to you, Elias, and kind of just looks down at the woman and just says, "She is dead, no?"
She is now. She wasn't quite when we got here.
So she was like this as you found her.
I mean, if you're implying it was us that wounded her, then yes, she was like this when we found her.
Yes. It seems likely. He kind of looks around the square, and looks like down like the other alleyway that leads out of it, and just says, "I would assume he must have gone that way."
She claimed it was the Crow Man that attacked her, which does
hence
seem.
The idiot's question. Yes, that makes
yes.
sense why he thought that may have been me now.
You will get used to the questions from Gary.
You seem to assume that I have any intention of staying with you for some reason. I do not know why that would be.
What brings you here, brother?
Oh, you are aware of the order. I am here on business for the order. I was sent by our leader. He's kind of talking to you, but distracted. He's clearly like looking around, trying to figure out if there's anywhere else somewhere could have gone. By the leader of the order. Why? What do you know of the order?
I am a mage from the city.
like as you say, "I am a mage," you just see like something like fall down his sleeve into his hand, and he's like, "Oh, to who do you belong?"
My master is Tackett's.
Hmm. Not aware of any of his students being on an errand, though I have not been back to the city for many weeks. He kind of he kind of pushes the like metal rod that he obviously just dropped into his hand back up into the strap that he holds it on in his arm, and just says, "You are aware of this woman, then?"
As far as I was aware, she was just a mere fortune teller here at the fair.
The arrogance of the Magi, present even in this day and age.
And who exactly might you be, brother? Your name?
Oh, sorry. My manners are not the best. I do not spend much time around civilized folk. Um, I am Brother Anselmo.
Jack, while they're all talking, can I see if there's any tracks or where a segment would have gone?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, give me survival.
So it's wilderness law, I think, in this one, isn't it?
Oh yeah, sorry. I
For
keep doing
tracking.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Wilderness law.
That is a 7, which is a great success.
Yeah. There are some tracks. There's obviously like your tracks and stuff. There's only one set of tracks leading out of the square in a different direction to the way you've all come in,
Mhm.
and that's down that other pathway that the monk kind of said was the way he went, way he would have probably gone. There is a set of tracks leading that way.
I'm gonna start following them.
Cool. He sees you walk off, and he's just like, "You girl, where are you going?"
Trying to find the person who did this.
Yes. You see tracks? You are a tracker?
Yes.
Good. Lead on. Magic user, do not leave. I will speak to you later. And he just kind of follows you, Nyla.
Okay. So I continue following the tracks.
There's a bloke with a bloody great blade around. Should we not stick together?
I do not think you are in any danger, Master Dwarf.
Oh well, thanks, random stranger. I'll take your word for it.
I lean into Grandel. I'm like, I think he's the crow man.
I don't intend on letting Nyla go alone, so I'm coming with.
Yeah. So's Grandel. I just lean back to Gary and I was like, I'll bear it in mind, mate. I don't think so.
So as you kind of get up, Elias, the monk, he kind of just goes, "Oh, for heaven's sake!" He's like, "Girl, wait," and he goes over and he kind of examines the woman very briefly, closes her eyes with his fingers, and then kind of places her in a position, and then whistles real loud, like it's ear splitting, like shrill whistle, and then goes, "Come on then, leads on." Back to Nyla again.
I do so.
As you are kind of leaving, you see two young lads who are in they're in a similar style of robe, but they're not sky blue. They're white ones, and they kind of come in and they start putting the body on like a stretcher and like gathering all of the woman's things together. And they're obviously like his assistants, and they're gonna cart the body away and take it somewhere for some reason.
Fine.
Yes, lead on. So you lead on, Nyla. So you head down this other alleyway, and you come to what is essentially the edge of town. The alleyway just leads to like another road that kind of goes past the industrial district. And at this point, you lose the tracks in the kind of cart. Because obviously it's been raining this entire time, so it's quite impressive you managed to find tracks in the first place. But then when it gets to the road, it's just so muddy, and there's so many cart tracks and stuff. You can't follow it anymore. So it's kind of the trail goes cold.
Can I just have a look around and see if I can see anyone holding a weapon that would, or like something that may, be trying to hide it under a robe? I don't know. I'm just desperately looking for
Yeah, give me perception.
any clues. Perception, that is a 4, another great success.
Cool. Yeah, you look around, and at first you don't think there is anybody like in this part of town. But then as you kind of go to look away, you notice there is movement actually, kind of down towards the end of the road you're on. And you're pretty sure someone was looking back down the road, and when they saw you, like, ducked in really quickly.
I'll start moving that way.
As you do that, the monk does the same thing because he saw the same. He spotted them as well. So you can head off that direction. He's moving very quickly. Like he's not running, but he's walking at fast pace.
I'll match him.
Do you guys follow?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. So you get to the end of this road and you turn kind of down this route, this path that the this person you think went down. It's another quite simple alleyway. It's not really anything interesting down it. There's a couple of boxes, some like just general rubbish, bits of wood and stuff. But at the end of the alleyway, there is definite signs of someone climbing up the side of the wall because there's just mud all up it.
I'm gonna run towards the wall and try and climb as well.
Yeah, you can run towards the wall and try and climb. Climb is strength. That's an athletics check. Is there a skill called climb?
No, athletics.
It would be athletics under
It is athletics. I couldn't remember whether
Strength
it was
or
actually
con.
one
Strength.
climb.
or con. So, oh my god, it's another 3. Great success.
I rolled a
I think,
natural 1.
Oh my god, awesome.
Yeah, Grandel's going to try as well. And that is an 8, which is... okay, so if it's exactly half, is that a great success or just a normal success?
Great success.
That's a great success then.
It's equal or under.
I thought it was. Couldn't remember. Yeah, great
Cool, yeah,
success.
so you all get to this wall, and you all start kind of clambering up it. You all make pretty light work of it.
I don't.
But
Can I can I use some of my natural 1 energy that I've built up to basically just like lift Elias over the top?
I got an 18, which is a terrible failure.
He weighs double.
So yeah, Elias basically slips in the mud and ends up on his ass. But Gary, you can kind of come back down.
Yeah.
If you want to and try again with him.
Yeah, for sure.
It just means you won't roll with advantage.
No worries. I think that's the first strength check I failed. My score is 17. I rolled an 18.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, indeed. Sorry about that, Lois.
I'll just stay down here and wait,
I
Gary.
don't know what happened.
Climbing's
This,
not my specialty.
The monk, seeing this, he got to the bottom of the bottom of the wall, and paused, and then as you all started climbing, and then he just watched Elias fail miserably, and then Gary failed to get him up, and he just grabs Elias and just shoots up the wall. Like he plants his foot on one wall and launches himself up onto the wall, and just kind of basically runs up it, but he's clearly bouncing from wall to wall. And gets
Naruto
up
run.
there and essentially kind of plants Elias on the roof with the rest of you, and then looks down at Gary as if to be like, I know you can manage on your own.
Oh. Well, there's no need to be a dick about it, mate.
He doesn't say that, he just looks at you.
There's another natural one.
Yeah, without Elias, you're fine. You launch up there as well.
Clearly.
You don't even need a
Damn.
foot plant on a wall. You just jump, like vertical jump onto the roof, like.
Perfect.
And then he turns and looks at Nyla and is like, makes a gesture as if to say, "Carry on."
I didn't stop. I was still going. I was just like running after whoever this person is.
Cool. Well, when you got to the top of the roof, there wasn't any. You couldn't see anybody.
Oh, okay.
So you need to do another wilderness law check.
Another wilderness law. That is. Oh, that's 15. That's just a success.
Cool. So you can see like a couple of muddy footprints that the rain is in the process of washing away, and they kind of lead diagonally across the roof.
I lead on.
Cool. As soon as everyone's up, the monk will follow you. He's quite quick, so he catches up with you quite easy. About halfway across the roof, one of the footprints is like definitely half a footprint, and you notice that there's actually like a hatch in the ceiling, in the roof.
Do we see
which you
what
think-
this building was? Like, was it anything specific? Was it like a house?
You didn't in the rush. You didn't notice. You didn't kind of pay any attention. I don't think, unless you want to give me like a memory check to see whether you notice anything.
Ooh, it's going to be intelligence based, I imagine.
It is. Yeah.
Nah, I wouldn't even worry about it. It's a building.
It is a building.
It's definitely a building. It's got a roof and walls.
It's got like kind of it's a slightly pitched roof with a central like angle, and there's a trapdoor on one half on the side you're on, which there's a half footprint over.
I sort of, as I've caught up with Nyla and the monk, seen this trapdoor, I kind of gesture to everyone just to stay away from it for a moment, but I do it silently, and then I want to check this thing for traps.
Yep, cool.
That is a 13, which is a normal success.
Cool. Yeah, there's no traps on there that you can see.
Can I tell if it's locked?
It doesn't appear to be.
Cool. I just sort of whisper that information to them. It's not trapped. It doesn't seem to be locked.
Well, let's get in
Open
there.
it.
And as he goes to open it, Nyla just opens it.
Sorry. I
And
want
as
a
soon as you've
quest now.
opened it, he basically just drops in through the hole. He doesn't even wait to see what's in there. He just drops in. Like pillar drops, essentially. And you hear a very soft kind of thunk of like, and a rustle. And as you look into the hole, you can see hay.
Okay, I'd do the same.
Is it Assassin's Creed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
We'd like swan dive into the hay bale and not break our necks.
Yeah, that's it. It's
Perfect.
36 stories up you are at the moment.
And the hay is about 3 inches deep, but you're
Yep,
fine
yep,
for
that's
some
it, you're
reason.
fine. This is low fantasy, but that's it, some magic ass hay.
Yeah, that's
It's
really
a very
magic.
small village, but it has the tallest building in the world, just randomly.
And the
Yep.
softest hay. I jumped down as well.
Cool. You jump
Yep.
down?
Yeah.
Everyone, I'm assuming everyone jumps down. Yeah, you land on this hay, and you find yourself on the second floor, like the hay loft of the stables.
The stable that Bear and the horses are in.
Yep.
Can I see Bear?
Yeah, he's down. He's down asleep.
Oh god, useful. I'm gonna go up to him and do our I don't know if it's a telepathic link or I could just talk to him. We haven't quite worked this out, but essentially,
I think it's telepathic is too magical. I think
Yeah.
essentially you talk to him and he can kind of like intimate. It's like an empathic bond. I think is closer.
Yeah, okay.
You get a feeling for what it is he's seen, and he kind of generally, just based on his looks and his just kind of, you know him well enough to be able to tell basic, very simple information from him.
Okay, I will ask him, did someone run through here? Fell from the roof?
He looks at you and is like, I've been asleep. Like, that's all you get from him is just, this hay is soft.
It's the
I've been
best.
asleep for like 24 hours.
He is a cat, I mean.
He is a cat, yeah. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, just saying.
He already stopped one miscreant today.
Yes,
He did.
Um,
Accidentally.
yeah. The monk drops down from the hayloft as well, and is not really that surprised by a tiger, but is clearly like, what? It's just like, why the fuck is there a tiger in the stables? Like, what kind of fucking stables is this?
I
It's
give-
illogical. Why would you
fair-
let a big cat stay in a stables where there are horses that he would eat?
Kind of two-bit
Like,
operation.
That's kind
this?
of exactly.
I give Bear like a really big scritch on the head behind the ears, and then I look for directionality of this person who's eluding us. I guess.
So so you look out and you see that the barn doors are open. Give me perception.
Oh god, that was almost a 20, but it rolled onto a 2. Perception, yeah, that's a great success.
So so you look around this stables and you see three things that strike you as odd. The first is that one of the stable doors with a couple of horses in it. The stables are kind of there's multiple horses in each particular section. One of them is not shut. There are a pile of like bridles and stuff all just on the floor underneath the hooks they would be on, and there's quite a lot of hay strewn out into the street.
Okay. I will point out those things to my friends, and I will look out of the door onto the street where the hay's leading.
So down the street you can see there is a woman being helped up by a man, and with a great success you can faintly hear hoof steps.
I will gesture for everyone to follow. This way.
Yeah, I'll follow along.
Follow after.
The monk just holds his hand up to say stop, and is just like, you are not going to chase down a horse. It's not possible. Not even I am that fast.
Well, all right then. What's your big idea?
I don't have one, I'm just saying.
Did I get a look at what the guy looked like as I was chasing, and or could I work out?
Not really.
No.
He wasn't tall enough to be a half scorn, and he wasn't short enough to be a halfling.
So
So-
a human.
Statistically speaking, he was probably a
Or elf.
human. Or an elf, but that seems unlikely.
Yeah. Okay. And there was no like distinguishing clothes he was wearing, or
Just a big black cloak.
Okay. Well, as fun as a chase through a city is, it's not really led us anywhere.
As you say that, you hear from the the bunkhouse, walking, coming towards you. No. And he just makes those noises, I think. And he kind of, and Pierre walks round the corner from the through the door that connects the two buildings, and looks up and says, "Oh, how useful! I was just looking for you.
What are you looking for?
You two, you four. My business is concluded in the town, and I wanted to let you know that we will definitely be leaving in the morning."
But there's like a mystery, like there's a mystery to solve.
Am I paying you to solve mistress?
No.
Well then.
I look at the monk and be like, what? But there's a mystery, like.
Yes, there is indeed a mystery here to be solved.
Are you gonna solve the mystery?
5. I intend to do just that. That's what I've been sent here to do. 5 independent users of magic have been killed in the last year. All by a similar cause.
I look back at Pierre, like raise my arms. It's a mystery. Come on, we can stay for one more day, can we?
No.
But like, what if we find a bunch of gold? I'll cut you in.
Do you remember, Gary, why we were heading to the city in the first place?
No.
At least he's honest, I suppose.
Yeah, honesty is the best policy.
Why are we heading to the city? I was just going along for the ride. You were like, oh, I need to go to the city. And I was like, well, my town's burnt down and fallen into the ground, so I might as well follow along.
I'm sorry, your town has burnt to the ground?
Yeah,
But
there was like...
technically, it was an earthquake.
It was an earthquake. Like, it was this little boy, right? And like, he did some healing and on this other little boy. And we saw
He
it.
looks at Elias as if to be like, why are you traveling with this imbecile?
I know it sounds implausible, but I did see it with my own eyes.
His face like immediately like just stops. All humor vanishes from his face.
I know
He
it's
takes like 3 steps and is just like right up next to you and is just like healing.
I
You
know.
saw healing magic
I did, yes,
from a child.
from a child.
Where is this child?
The child is now dead. I believe he inadvertently cast Unchained the World Eater.
You think a boy cast Unchain the World Eater?
Yes.
One of the most complicated and powerful magic spells. That is
Yes.
available.
I know it sounds ridiculous.
Yes, it sounds almost as ridiculous as a boy healing someone.
I mean, I'm not quite sure what you want me to say.
Yeah, you believe what you believe. I only believe what I see with my own eyes.
Which is what we are doing.
And I am not doubting, well, I am doubting you, obviously. But I am not saying that you do not believe what you think you saw. I just find it hard to believe myself. It goes against everything that we know about magic in its entirety.
You can go.
I think-
Excuse me, who even are you?
As I believe we have already gone over, I am Brother Escobar Almos.
And what?
Hey, that's pretty much what I was thinking.
Monk of the Order.
Order of what?
The Order.
I look at
Well,
Nyla and
Randall.
shrug.
famous-
Jack, would
Grendel-
I
Grendel
know what
just-
the order is?
Yeah, Grendel
Sure.
just chuckles at the monk's annoyance at this.
To be honest, no, you wouldn't. They don't have them in the
No.
forest.
That's what I thought. I'm just sort of like, well, I'm sorry to be disrespectful, sir, but you know, I'm paying you in kind at this point.
I was very respectful of your abilities to track.
I don't know what the order is. I don't know who you are, and I have no idea if we can trust you. You've just been following us around. What's going on? What do you know about the fortune teller, and why are you here?
Okay. Do you know this man? And he points at Elias.
Yes.
Do you trust this man?
I've put a side glance to Grendel. Just like grip my teeth a little bit, like.
Like, ooh,
Um,
awkward.
I guess. Yes.
Well, that is your first mistake. No offense to you, sir, but no one should trust a magic user.
I should have
They
said
do
the
not
first
know.
answer.
Should have
They
gone
do
with your
not
gut.
know how to control the power which they wield. My order is one that when the Magi and their folly broke the world irreparably 400 years ago, we came together to hunt down any of the remaining order to make sure that magic could do no further harm. In the time that has passed between then and now, we have become caretakers of the Magi. Magic users, as they prefer to be called. We make sure that the Guild of Magic Users can speak to each other, communicate, share information and knowledge, without having to have more than 2 or 3 of them in a place at any one time, thus imposing the rule of 3.
So you're a caretaker.
Me specifically, I am more of a... I don't like the term, but I have been called an inquisitor.
Grandel sort of clenches up at that and takes a subconscious step backwards.
We were sort of told to seek out caretakers.
So, just for Elias and Grandel's benefit, who both lived in the city for a while, the monks, the inquisitors of the monks of the order, are the ones that essentially hunt down and stop any rogue magic users. They're not generally nice people, and they're not to be messed with, is kind of the rule of thumb in terms of the order monks. They're also very rare. You don't see them about very often.
Yeah.
Yeah, that your reaction to that is exactly the one you would probably have. Elias probably is mentally running away at this point. Sorry, Nyla, what was your question?
Well, it was more a statement that we were told
Oh,
to
looking
seek
for the
out.
caretakers, yeah.
Yeah, seek out caretakers.
Well, the order is known as the caretakers of the Magi.
Well, maybe you can help us then. And I smile, because I have no idea that these
Yeah.
people are what the hell they are. So I'm just putting words together from my brain, aka my notes.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So do you know anything about Astiographus?
I'm sorry, what?
I'm saying that right, Elias, right? Astiographus.
Yes.
What is this Astiographus?
I kind of pinch the bridge of my nose. You found it hard enough to believe that we found a young boy who could heal, etc., etc. I think the rest of our tale is maybe a little bit more far-fetched than just that. I'm not sure you would even entertain an explanation.
Fine, whatever. I have work to do. Do you have anything more interesting you can tell me about this woman you saw? The one who died.
From the big fella here's story, she seemed to be able to answer questions that she couldn't possibly know the answer to.
Yes,
Well,
all seems to track with what our sources tell us.
she was
Were
pretty
you sent here?
mysterious.
Were you sent here specifically to seek her out?
Yes.
Hmm.
She has done much harm in the world.
What kind of harm?
She plants seeds of distrust and misfortune in the heads of the people who listen to her tales.
I don't like the sound of this. It reeks of curses.
I was going to say exactly the same thing.
Just be glad that you have spoken to Odessa and survived.
And
There are few who can say that.
what do you reckon about? I mean, she said the Crow Man attacked her.
Yes. There have been sightings of such a creature. I think it is nothing more than somebody who fancies themselves as a vigilante of types. Someone who is killing these people who are causing unrest in the world, thinking they are doing the right thing.
So he's going around doing your job, but without authorization.
Essentially.
Hmm.
That is my assumption, at least.
Well, shite.
If you do hear any more of this person, then please do let me know. You can find way to reach me, well, to get word to me, at any of the shrines to the order. The one in the city, the headquarters, I'm sure your magic user friend is aware of it. If you tell them any information, they will make sure it gets to me.
Well, it was nice to meet you.
He kind of looks up at you because you're quite tall, and he says, "Yes, I'm sure it was." He kind of gestures to Elias, asking him to kind of come towards the front of the barn, away from the others.
Yeah, I'll do as I'm told.
And he says to you, "When will you due back at your master's tower?"
I was due back in a couple of weeks.
Good. You're making good time then. Do not tarry. You know how the people in the city are. This tale of yours you have to tell. He kind of looks around in a kind of semi-conspiratorial manner, and he leans in and says, "I did not tell you this, but tell your master first, before the order here. I will speak not of what you have said, but you are not the first to have tales of such ridiculousness. There is another. Speak to my colleague in the city. She may be able to help you. Sister Honora."
Okay, I will seek her out.
Good. I wish you well, all of you, truly.
I would
Yeah,
I would like you to know that everything we have said is true.
I am actually beginning to believe that may be the case. He looks at Nyla and says, "Make sure that Hood stays up in this town. They are not friendly to your kind." And he walks out into the rain.
He was nice.
Oh, aye. Charming fella.
What on earth was he? Why
What
you
on
guys so
Talanost
scared
was he?
of him? Wow, sorry. Sure.
Sorry.
That's good. Sorry. Why are you guys so scared of him?
I mean, only by reputation. The Inquisitors are. You don't. Excuse my language. You don't fuck with Inquisitors. Is essentially it. They take down mages who've gone rogue, and they are very, very good at it. Not to be trifled with.
Well, so therefore I understand why Elias is scared. Why you?
Well, you know, I can't do magic, and they can take down people who can do magic. That's a bit fucking scary.
I shrug my shoulders. I'm just like, okay.
I love how Nyla's just not phased by anything.
She doesn't know any of this stuff. She's just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
well,
Blissful ignorance. It's awesome.
yeah, basically. You
It's
want to
great,
talk about
'cause in-
trees? I'll talk to you about trees.
in the Elven Forest, like, magic users are both much less common and much less feared.
Mm.
So when they do come around, they're kind of like encouraged. It's like it's something that's impressive and amazing, and you know, it should be used to its most fullest advantage to help the forest. Just not the way the humans see it. Cool. Yeah. So that's your first encounter with the Order. That was fun. Is there anything else anyone wants to do before the end of the day?
I'd like to talk to Nyla. Nyla, I'd advise you to keep the information that we have about Astiograthis between us for now. Especially not telling the Order. I think it could kind of hamper our investigation.
They said to seek out the caretakers, and you said that's what they were.
From what I know about the caretakers, they are a much, much, much older kind of group of people. We're talking,
yeah.
yeah.
Like The Order are caretakers, but they're not the caretakers.
Well, that's just stupid and confusing. Why don't you give us a different name?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Jack.
Yeah, Jack. I throw my hand into the sky and yell,
Yeah.
Jack!
Jack!
You all just in your heads you hear, "It was intentional."
You stumbled across my great deception. Good job, guys.
Are we heading back to the bunkhouse and the stables and that for the evening?
We're at the stable.
I mean, you're in the stables. So.
Oh yeah, of course we are. Sorry. Well, if we're going to be sort of, going to bed for the evening, I'd like Elias to take a closer look at the cameo.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Do that thing.
You've given us so many threads, Jack. You're having trouble keeping track of them. You're like, oh, these things.
I would actually like to
Yeah,
take
I'm alright actually.
the opportunity, Jack, to pierce the veil a little.
Dun dun dun.
You and your veil piercing.
I know.
It's in the veil.
You
John.
and that pissing veil.
It's full of holes already.
You're good blind, Jack. Sorry, John.
Pierce it. Pierce it real good.
You've pierced the veil so much that the GM has gone blind.
So I,
much.
yeah, I take the item, speak a little incantation under my breath. Kind of my eyes glaze over slightly, and I roll on the dark and dangerous magic.
Yeah, you do.
Spin that
It's
wheel.
It's a 6.
Is that good
Shit,
or
you're getting
bad?
closer and closer to the number.
That's what are you now, like 4?
I'm on 5 now.
Oh god. That was a 6.
So I can spend an action to pinpoint and identify magic within a 30-foot radius, including magical items, trap runes, and personal charms. The broad nature of any magic is revealed.
Cool. So looking at this cameo, you get it's definitely magical. Very, very subtle magic on this. It's old magic, and you've not seen anything like this before. It feels like it's kind of protective in nature.
Okay.
And kind of the enchantment that lives within this cameo is definitely of some sort of protective, abjuration-y kind of magic.
Mm-hmm.
Something you do know is, as being a magic user, is although they are very rare, and I'm saying they're very rare, and this is the second thing you've come across, but actually, items with magic imbued within them are really rare. To be able to access the magic within them, they do have to be attuned to.
Mm-hmm.
That the attunement isn't. It's not like 5th edition where you go, cool. I take an hour and I tune to the item. I can do this 3 times. I have 3 items I can attune to. An item that has an intrinsic magical property is essentially to create an item like that. The reason why they're so rare is to create an item that has magic within it. You have to essentially put part of your power in an item, which is why they're so rare. Because the magic users are powerful enough to actually do that. Don't want to. So yeah, essentially, there's part of that person's power. Whoever made this, there's a portion of their power was used to craft this magical effect. And the way that it works in terms of game, like mechanics, you attune to it. That takes an amount of time where you kind of, I mean, there's no other word for it other than attune. You become attuned to the item. Essentially, you have to meditate with it, like look at it, examine it, just kind of take it all in, let it, kind of open yourself to it, and hope that it opens itself to you. And once that happens, you will then be attuned to it. Everybody can have one thing they're attuned to. In some instances, you may be able to attune to more items, but that is something that might happen if it ever comes to it. It's unlikely you'll get that many attunement items, to be honest. But if it does come to it, then maybe you'll be able to get another one if you're powerful enough as a person. But the actual idea is that all magic items have the ability. You kind of unlock additional things that are hidden within it by attuning to it more, like deeply. So although you attune to the item, and it gives you this kind of basic first level effect, you might find another deeper ability that it has after having, you almost attune to it on another level from using its ability, or like giving in to its whims in some instances, or relying on it, using it as a fallback. So if it was like, I don't even know if this is possible in this world, but like if there was a weapon that had did extra damage on a critical hit or something, when you got critical hits, it would deepen the attunement. So the more critical hits you got, the more likely it would be that it would unlock a secondary effect.
Cool.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's quite an unusual system, but initially this first level of attunement that you could do with this would give you some sort of protective.
And presumably Elias explains all that to Grandel.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So having had that, and seen this, he's good with magic items. I look around to make sure that there's no one else in the bunkhouse or no one sort of paying attention, and I sort of sit down next to Elias and I take off my pack and I open it and I just sort of lift the sort of top cover and I go, all right, what do you make of this? And I'm going to show Elias the object in my bag.
You are temporarily blinded by the level of magic that's pouring off of this thing.
My eyes! My beautiful eyes!
That buzz you get in the base of your skull, just like thubs, just thrums, like really, really, like heavily. This is quite a magical thing. And then it goes away immediately and it looks completely inert and there's no magic to do with it at all. It's not magical in any way, shape, or form. But you've just seen that it is magical.
Did I get the broad nature?
It's another instance of abjuration magic, but this time much more powerful. I assume you take it off him to examine it more carefully.
I mean, if he'll let me. I mean, he was being quite secretive about it, so I don't want to...
Yeah, I'm trying to keep anybody else who might be around from seeing it, but as long as we're sort of nicely in private, then yeah, I have no problem with him in examining it.
It depends whether the other two came to the room with us.
Well, I imagine Nyla probably stayed in the stables with Bear again.
Yeah, yeah.
But obviously it's a common bunk room, so I don't know if there's any... I don't mind Gary seeing it, but I don't know if there's
honest,
other...
everyone's still out partying.
Cool, okay.
So yeah, Elias, if you kind of take it off him, and you get, again, that kind of very faint, buzz at the base of your skull, and you kind of turn it over in your hands, and there is, So I've described this obviously before, and I don't know whether you heard this, but
I
it's
did,
this
yeah.
ball with all these vines going all over them, and there's definitely a split in the middle, and it looks like it should open, but it doesn't.
Does magic radiate from, the split?
Exactly, yeah. So that kind of little, very thin crack there, that's where you kind of get a little tingle of magic from, and it's this abjuration magic.
Does the outlining of any magic kind of highlight anything that isn't visible with the naked eye? No. I think maybe this is beyond my power, Grandel. to be honest. It's very clearly magical, but other than the slight hint of abjuration, I don't really get too much from it.
Mm. It's been giving off heat whenever magic's been used around it. I know that.
I mean, possibly it's designed to directly protect you from being the target of magic, maybe. Maybe it will absorb a magical effect placed upon you as an educated guess.
All right. Oh, thank you for taking a look at them. And I pop the object back in the bag, and the cameo, and I'm gonna pin to my shirt underneath my leather armor.
Cool. So, assuming that stays on you for a bit, you kind of, I assume you would have had a look at it in a bit more detail when you had the chance.
Yeah, yeah.
And something you'll notice, Grandel, is that just kind of printed in the silver on the back of the brooch are two initials, well, two letters that you assume are initials, and it looks like they're quite old, and you can't quite tell whether it's a capital O or a D, and then the second letter is a capital G, and essentially overnight, it's difficult because obviously you won't know what the effect is until it happens.
Yeah, yeah.
So when it comes up, if it comes up, I'll tell you.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much what I expected. That's all good.
Yeah, because it almost kind of ruins the feel of the way magic works. If I go cool, and then for your meta knowledge, this is what that means.
Yeah. No, I'm good with that.
He's got
nice.
magic items. He's got
Sorry?
a
I
magic
do.
ball and a magic brooch.
Yeah.
He does.
Big old
WTF,
magic
fam.
boy.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm his favourite.
I did expect that puzzle to be done by Elias. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. It wouldn't have been for Elias. It would have been like a kind of a figuring out like puzzle thing. But obviously, I can't really say no. You have to use your brain because he wouldn't use his brain. Well, he does use his brain, but in a different manner.
Just in a
But
different
I like
way.
the way I like the way it worked out. It's quite interesting. It kind of makes sense that the thief would end up hoarding all the magical shit, even without knowing. So that's where we are, and I probably expect you at some point in the evening, whilst you're kind of writing in your book and stuff, Pierre will pop his head round the corner of the bunkhouse and just say, "Good, we're going to have an early morning, so I'd get some sleep."
I think that might be a good idea. It's a few days' travel to the next town, so
Aye. Good call.
Yeah, so you kind of bed down for the night. And,
Grendel is sort of lying on his back, staring up at the ceiling on the top bunk, and just sort of running his finger over the cameo, like feeling the sort of the upraised silhouette on it, just sort of tracing his finger over it, lost in his thoughts.
Nyla, Bear is really like restless.
He didn't sleep
probably
all day,
it's
I'm
probably
not
because he's had
surprised.
24 hours of sleep.
He's stuck in a stable.
And he kind of can tell he's quite keen to get on the road again tomorrow.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
But you don't even need a wilderness check to know this rain ain't going to stop, so you're going to be travelling in the wet.
Yay. That'll be fun.
So yeah, so your day at the fair comes to an end. You settle down for a night's sleep. Nyla obviously is in the stables with Bear. and the three boys are inside, trying to make the most of the only bed they'll get to sleep in for another 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, Gary's all tuckered out.
Yeah,
He had a
He rung a
big
bell.
day.
Gary had a big day.
that's what this episode of the podcast is called. Gary's
Gary's big day. Yeah.
Gary's day out. Gary's day at the fair.
Gary's day at the fair.
Gary learns that some fruit is disgusting.
Or Gary remembers that fruit is disgusting.
Teach the kids well, Jack. You want those kids to be eating fruit. Guys, eat fruit.
Nah,
Good for you.
gross fruit.
Eat durian.
Don't
because
don't
it's
eat yuck
really
fruit.
disgusting.
It's nasty. So yeah, you all bed down and you look forward to getting back on the road again tomorrow, even if it is going to be wet out. And you all kind of think about the events of the day. Quite a lot's happened. Your life seems to kind of be spiraling a little bit at the moment, and you hope, and you hope that maybe the city will hold the answers. And as you all close your eyes to get some well-earned rest, each of you kind of thinks back, and as you drift off to sleep, you all hear echoed in your mind that, I mean, is prophecy the right word, you think? When gold light shines, 13 strain against their bonds. Cracks will form. Our final rest must end. In the fire of life, keys will be forged. There will be 7, as before.